we talk about how gross this is? Because they're fully related. They're probably fully naked with each other. And if they're doing the scene out of Credence where it's a double team on one person at the same time, they're definitely slapping sacks. That is incest, my guy. That's just straight up incest. Everybody, welcome back. I'm Shelby and this is Shebby Reads. This is going to be part 2 of Tryst Six Venom by Penelope Douglas. I wanted to get this all in one part, but it was going to be like 5.5 or more hours, so I decided I would separate it. So surprise bonus video, I guess. Penelope gave a list of trigger warnings. However, I don't think it's sufficient, so I'm just gonna do this until I think all of the warnings will go on the screen, because bleeping it all out is a nightmare. Okay, are we caught up? Okay, good. Also, if you say anything about my hair, you're homophobic. It's Pride Month and it's like one of the hottest days of the year. Leave me alone. If you want to see more like this and more about sapphic books, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into it. Chapter 13, their coach has decided to do some forced proximity in order to make Liv and Clay sort out their issues. Why it took 4 years for this coach to have this very basic idea is beyond me. I don't get it. Liv calls to try and get Tryst to come pick her up because she doesn't want to deal with this, but her brothers are still upset about the flag and they want it back. I doubt you can hide an expulsion from Dartmouth, I remind her, content that no one is coming to pick her up. She brushes past me, carrying her clothes. What do you care? I don't, I fire back. I care about the team. As much as it pisses me off, you're the only one who can seem to perform up to a standard. So let's get each other past this so you can come back to school, back to the team, and we can finish the year out amicably before we never have to see each other again. I'm not going back to that school. And then she disappears into the bathroom, slamming and locking the door. I stand there, still in my uniform, cold and covered in dirt and grass from the fight. I reach out, putting my palm on the door. And the play? I ask, knowing that graduating from a top-notch prep school wasn't the only thing keeping her at Marymount. We have the funds for the arts, unlike a lot of the public schools. I hear you're Callum's understudy. The possibility of a major role. What you've been waiting for? Is she really more important than all the things you used to want? She's silent for a moment, and then I hear, "Oh." I pull my head up, staring through the door. Don't waste my time. I'm smarter than you think. It takes a few seconds, but the door swings open and Liv stands there in some faded black skinny jeans, white top, and her hair loose and looking like it hasn't been combed in days. "Martell?" she asks, looking almost amused. I back up a little, thankful for her calm tone for once. "It makes it easier not being at school, doesn't it?" I point out. "You both won't be tempted to meet. You can keep your hookup secret. She can keep her job." Liv blinks and then something crosses her eyes. Laughter. Yeah, she nods. "You nailed it." She steps into the room, walking to the bed and putting her dirty clothes in the duffel bag. She thought it would be best. It was just too hard, not wanting each other all the time, you know? I lean against the door to the room, watching her. "You're still a student, as everyone likes to remind me, and I can still have her fired." She laughs under her breath, still tending to her bag and not sparing me eye contact. "Well, that would be one way to ensure I never return to Marymount, Clay." Son of a bitch! I shoot out my leg and kick the lamp on the little table next to the couch. It crashes to the ground, the shade popping off, the bulb shattering, the room dim. "Well, go then," I growl, blinking through the tears in my eyes. "Just go. I didn't ask you to come back for this game." "Yeah, benched." She moves toward me like a snake. "Doing so well on your own, weren't you?" "Of course I was," I grit out. "I'm me. Oh, the arrogance to believe that this has anything to do with you." "Oh, I think something does." She advances on me until I hit the wall, pressing her palms on either side of my head. "There's a reason you hate me so much. Why? Let's finally fucking have it out. Why have you always hated me?" "Because you're nasty," I blurt out, smelling the shampoo in her hair. "It's simple. The most basic human function is to reproduce, and you don't do that with another girl. You're fucked in the head. It's not what we're built for. Want to see what I was built for?" And she moves, but I push her back. "You're disgusting. And you're miserable." Slams her hand against the wall near my head again. "You're a miserable human being, Clay." "At least I don't fuck anything that comes along." I glare into her eyes 2 inches from her nose. "You really think you're happy throwing yourself at anyone just to pass the time? You hate me too. You know why? Because I don't need anyone. I may be pissy and spoiled and mean, but I don't need anyone." "You need this," she retorts. "This? The fighting? Or—" "No, I don't." "Oh, yes, you do," she whispers, but her tone is hard. "You need this so fucking bad you fell fell apart when I left school, didn't you? Nothing to play with anymore, which is exactly why I did it. I shake my head. No, I didn't let you win, she tells me. I simply removed myself from an environment that I hated, that didn't deserve me, that offered me nothing. Tears well in my eyes, and I see her chin tremble. I got my credits, she continues, holding back tears. I got into Dartmouth, and I didn't need any of that shit anymore. You weren't worth the fight. She grabs my collar. You were worth nothing. I shove at her, but she keeps hold, and so do I. None of us are, right? Jaeger for herself, right? Go then. Go the fuck out of here. Go. I will, she cries. I'm leaving, Clay, and I'm not coming back. I gasp, nearly choking on my breath, as my knees give out and I slide down the wall. She follows. I'm leaving. No. I sob, lodges in my throat. I'm going, she says. I shake my head no. And I'm never coming back. Her shout rings in my ears, and in a moment she's going to rise, walk out the door, and she'll never come back because Liv doesn't lie. She's stubborn and strong and a survivor, and she never lies. Knots twist so hard, they snap in my gut. Vomit rises up my throat, and I squeeze my eyes shut, tears spilling down. I push her away and rush into the bathroom, dropping to my knees and heaving over the toilet. I cough, sputter, and choke, feeling it coming up, but the only thing that does is a cry too agonizing to bear. Oh God, she can't go. She can't. I can't. Resting my elbows on the seat, I hold my head in my hands as lumps of something fill my throat and my stomach quivers, and then I feel something warm cover my back. Arms wrap around my body, and hands tip my chin back and wipe the hair away from my face. My tense instinct telling me to push her away, but all I want is her. She holds me to her, and I fall back, collapsing in her arms, crying, "You weren't supposed to leave." I murmur, "You weren't supposed to give up on me." Shh. She smooths my hair back. I keep my eyes closed, the tension easing from my face, my head swimming as the warmth and gentleness of her touch lulls me. You were the one who wasn't supposed to leave. Everyone else gave up. She holds me for a while, and I don't know if it's her or me, but the hold gets tighter and tighter. What are you doing? She whispers in my ear, and I feel the tears on her cheeks. What are you doing to me, Clay? And I realize she's not holding me. She's holding on to me because I'm not the only one alone. What do you need? She asks. Tell me what you need. Just this, I tell her. Just don't move, Liv. Please don't leave. My parents give me whatever I want because they don't want the fight. My mother doesn't have it in her to raise me anymore, and my father finds that his time is better spent elsewhere. Liv was all I had. I wanted to hurt her so I could matter. I lived for her, an enemy I never wanted to defeat, a fight I never wanted to end. But God, her arms, the feel of her voice, more. Opening my eyes, I look up at her, wiping my tears. I change my mind. I tell her as she looks down at me, I think I need carbs. Remember when Clay called Liv the D-slur multiple times? Remember that? Don't think about it too hard though, because that was supposed to invoke some kind of empathy. Well, joke's on you, Penelope, it didn't. I don't care that she sees Liv as her emotional support punching bag. Chapter 14, we're now seeing Clay eat pizza from Liv's POV. When Clay finally speaks, it's to say some insensitive BS. I'm sorry about your dad, she says in a quiet voice. I look over, seeing her pick at her slice and put it in her mouth. I shrug. It was 8 years ago. I take another bite, almost ready for my second. She ordered Old World pepperoni, my favorite. She nods. I know. At least he went quickly, though. What a disgusting thing to say to somebody who lost their father. But don't worry, Liv thinks that this is just fine because Clay's brother suffered. We're talking about Liv's mother right now, okay? I don't want to be like her, I whisper. I don't think she wanted to be like her either. I close my eyes. I know children weren't her problem. Her husband dying wasn't her problem. Her problems were always there, and she hated it as much as we did. Maybe killing herself was mercy for our family, to not put us through more, to not give my brother another mouth to feed. Or maybe she did what she'd wanted to do all along. She left. I don't know why their heart-to-heart is devolving into being about their parents. They haven't actually said anything about how they've treated each other. Their family lives being shitty is not an explanation about why they have been so abusive to one another, particularly Clay. I don't hate you. Her murmur is barely audible. I look up, listening. I think about you all the time, she almost mouths. I swallow the lump in my throat. She holds the pizza, all of her hair loose and spilling over her shoulder, and she's so still, her gaze fixed on the food in her hands. Was there ever anything you liked about me?
Was there a time, even in its smallest measurement, that you loved me at all?
How can anyone love a pebble in their shoe?
She should have answered like the stepmother from Ever After. Before she can answer, Christian and Amy break in because of homophobia and the predatory lesbian stereotype. Amy says that they're all going to sleep in one bed and Liv can keep the other one and sleep in the other one by herself. Again, there is so much lesbophobia from everyone in this book that it's exhausting. Christian says that she will sleep in the same bed as Liv, but Liv doesn't want her to because I guess she doesn't want her pity. I would have said, don't come over here because I would have wanted the bed all to myself anyway. That's just me though. Clay sneaks into bed with Liv while the other two are asleep. But then the bed dips behind me, the sheet moves, and a body presses into my back, arms slipping around my waist. Clay's scent surrounds me and I open my eyes, seeing she's no longer in the other bed with Christian and Amy. She holds me tightly. Just let me go, I barely whisper. I can't. Her breath caresses my ear and I have no energy to fight her. The tears fall and I just lie there, letting her mold her body to mine, holding me tighter as she buries her nose in my hair. Do you think I want it to be this hard? I murmur in the quiet so Christian and Amy don't hear. It's not a choice, you know. She's silent and I stare over at the other two sleeping. Sometimes I tried not to feel it, I say. Tried to force myself to get excited around a boy and to ignore the way my heart beat faster around. But I trail off knowing she gets the idea. I don't know why I'm telling her this. It's not that I need her to understand, because there are so many others in the world who will. But for some reason I can't stop talking. But it wasn't who I was. I saw women everywhere. They were all I saw. I didn't notice men the same way, how they walked or laughed or danced. I could never picture myself in a guy's arms. I turn over in her arms and look at her in the dark. All I dreamed about was someone wanting me. I wanted to look over in class and see a girl looking at me the way I looked at her, having someone touch my fingers and hold my hand or pass me notes in class. I wanted someone to have a crush on me, someone with a soft body and soft hair. Everyone else got to have that. All the fucking movies and love songs, and I choke on a sob, forcing it back down. It just got so lonely, and after a while I just got angry. There were other gays at Marymount. The odds were in my favor that I wasn't alone, but no one would out themselves in such a small town, except me. I was already an outsider because of where I come from, so I hide anything else, as if that would help. I sneak into the Wind House sometimes, she whispers. I blink. The funeral home? Why? I ask. She's quiet for a moment and then says, to watch at first. Thunder rolls overhead, the rain growing harder on the windows, and we both lie on our sides eye to eye. When Henry, she swallows, and he died, my parents called the funeral director and let them know which hospital to pick him up at. She tells me, keeping her voice just between us. My mother was shattered, and Mrs. Gates held her hand and said, I will be very careful with him. Mrs. Gates is the funeral director. It's a hard enough job. I can't imagine having to prepare children for burial. She puts people back together, Clay tells me. She started to teach me how to put people back together. I stare at her, barely able to see her face in the darkness, but I keep listening because I don't think anyone else knows this. I needed to know what happens when we're gone, she says. That night, I just couldn't get out of my head how he was alone. The kid was only 10. They wouldn't think that he was cold or scared, she continues. So I went to him, broke the basement window and climbed through and stayed with him. I tuck my hands under my cheek and she does the same, taking her time. Mrs. Gates found me the next morning. I watch her, asleep against the wall outside his locker. She tried to send me home, almost called my parents, but I refused to leave. I wanted to see. I needed to see what happens after we die, where my brother went. I'll bet she put up a fight. No one says no to Clay. I almost smile, imagining the tantrum she probably threw. She was only 14. She was so frantic. I hear the amusement in Clay's voice. She didn't know what to do. My parents would have killed her if they'd ever found out that she let me watch. She paused and then continued. Johnny Caesar came in that morning. You remember him? A local rock star about 7 or 8 years older than us. Made a couple of albums with a small label who screwed him out of rights and royalties, but he got out from under it. Got a big record deal and was about to hit it big, become a worldwide star. She didn't want to get in trouble, but I needed to know and she understood. Clay says. I stood back, way back, and watched her embalm him, watched him patch up the gashes from his car wreck, the track marks on his arms, and how gaunt his face had become. She cut his hair, put makeup on him, dressed him. I was at that funeral. He was a friend of Army's. He looked alive again, she goes on, lightning flashing across her skin. She put him back together so he could be remembered how I'm sure he wanted to be. He looked 19 again, with his whole life ahead of him, before the world tore him apart. My mom probably wishes she was remembered differently or better. I'm not sure if it would have been a comfort seeing her dressed in her best at a funeral, even if we could have afforded one. But people don't deserve to be remembered for how they died. She wouldn't let me watch her prepare my brother, of course, but after Henry was buried, She hesitated. I started coming back. I've gone back again and again, helping, learning, because every time her phone rings, someone needs her. Someone is looking for guidance and comfort, and I need to be reminded that life is short. I don't know what happens when we die. Her breath shakes and I inch in closer. But I do know life is too short. There is no tomorrow. This is all there is. This is all there is, I repeat. And I reach out to touch her face, Clay. I smooth out the lines of worry and anger, the fighting and the hurt. I wipe away her tears with my thumb, feeling her warm skin and how she's the softest thing I've ever touched. Lippy, she whimpers, squirming against me. Clay. She leans into it and exhales, her warm breath wafting over my mouth, and slowly slides her arm around my waist, pulling me in close. I'm scared, she murmurs. Me too. I still don't trust her. I know this is a mistake, but fuck, I need to feel her once. All of her, just once. Fuck it. I want to feel her come undone. When Liv brings up the clear lesbophobia that is happening to her, Clay just makes it about her and her quirky funeral girl shtick. Why is it so hard for Penelope to focus on one important conversation at a time? It's like they want us to forget that Clay has been persecuting Liv for pretty much nothing but her sexuality and occasionally her class for this entire book. They kiss and then Liv puts her hand down Clay's pants immediately, just getting right down to business, the business of not asking anyone for consent. Clay says, don't take off my clothes, but Liv is going to do it anyway with the two other girls right in the bed next to them. They are begging to get caught. Liv finally asks Clay if she wants her to stop when Clay points out that they're going to get caught. If you want the full scene, I'm not reading it to you. Buy it on thrift books. Don't support Penelope Douglas. But I will give you the basic synopsis. There's some upper touching, and we also remain fixated on the bean. They're kissing, and now everyone is naked. They keep looking over to see if the other girls are waking up at all. It's okay, I say. I'll stop whenever you want. We don't have to do anything. I'm afraid I'll feel different, she tells me as I run my hand up and down her stomach, squeezing her breast gently. She means she's worried she'll feel bad about it afterward. It's easy for women to feel shame about sex. We're good at feeling dirty for things that should be natural. She's afraid she'll feel wrong, but something will change and the knowledge of who she was will be lost. It hurts a little. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I gaze down at her. Sex is a big deal. I didn't think it would be. Why? With you, I mean, she says. You thought it wouldn't be real. Because I'm a fetish. She gazes up at me and I move to climb off her, but she grabs my thighs, keeping me there. I thought it wouldn't matter, she murmurs, but it does. I want you so badly, and I'm scared it won't stop, Liv. You two have already been doing the devil's tango. What do you mean it's a big deal now? You already rubbed on each other's clams in the locker room, which I would count as sex. Also, you got her off with a shower head. That is also sex. They keep going, and Liv wants Clay to talk about how much she thinks about her. There's no better way to get caught, but they aren't actually all that concerned about that. They are now bumping and grinding, doing that word that starts with T. I don't want to get in trouble. I would like to be monetized someday. It progresses to inserting digits and then mouth things. But then one of the other girls' alarms goes off and saves me from this torment. Also, I want to be so clear, I don't mind smut. I mind this smut. It's awful. Chapter 15, they quickly hide under the covers, but this would never work. Christian and Amy have both had sex before. It has a smell, people. Liv keeps trying to touch Clay under the covers, and Clay is angry because no one has finished yet. Christian leaves to get Starbucks, and Amy goes to take a shower, so they get right back at it, doing the do with the capital T again. Clay makes a big deal that she's never had sex with Callum, so she's a virgin. Yay, my favorite trope! Also, you're not a virgin. You had sex with Liv twice already. They both get off, and it's the best sex to ever sex. Woo! Amy comes out, and Clay distracts her by making her find Clay's shoes, and then she gets dressed super quickly so that no one notices. I stare at them, thinking about her other pair that I have. I want more, I whisper, sitting on the bed. I want to make noise. She stands in front of me and I raise my eyes, taking in her smooth stomach and how I want my turn to taste her under the sheets. I wince, something inside me hurting just looking at her. Opening her underwear, I lean down, waiting as she steps into them. Sleep at my house tonight. she tells me. I pull her panties up her legs as I hear the shower come on. Liv pulls on her tank top. Your whole family will know? She falls silent, and I know I've said something wrong. I meet her eyes, seeing a question in hers. Don't look at me like that. I pick up her shirts off the bed and help her into them, and I'm not sure why I'm dressing her. I'm still trying to figure out what's happening. Just let me enjoy this before the whole world has an opinion about it. Relax, Clay. She brushes my hair out of my eye. I'm not going to out you. You want to keep it quiet, that suits me too. Why? I cock my head at her. She just shrugs. I mean, it's not like this is a relationship, right? Well, I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. I guess not. I hadn't thought that far ahead. Just that she's the only option for me. She's the only thing I want in the world. I don't know why all these people in these novels make agreements to have casual sex when we know that no one wants that arrangement. Secretly dating exists. Dating someone who isn't out exists. It's just to raise these arbitrary stakes some more. Clay is super excited that she has been deflowered by Liv. I'm glad it was a good first time for her and all, but it's pretty gross to see a book about lesbians hyper-focusing on the idea of a sexual concept that doesn't actually exist. And again, we already talked about it. She already lost her virginity a while ago when they were rubbing clams, or you can even count the shower head. It's so arbitrary what line Penelope picks to decide what lesbian sex is. Callum comes to pick her up and is excited that Liv and Clay's fight at the game made it onto YouTube. Clay tries to get out of going out with her friends so she can pick Liv up like they talked about, but she has the constitution of a wet napkin, so she folds immediately. As I pull out of the lot, take a left, and see her form walking in the downpour, I know I fucked up. I lightened my foot on the pedal, seeing her drenched already and wanting to stop so badly. I told her I would be there, but I don't stop. I pass, leaving her behind in my rearview mirror, closing my eyes and wanting to cry. I can't live. I'm sorry. This isn't a relationship. In the fall, she'll go to one school and I'll go to another. She'll get over it. If Liv likes hate sex this much, she should go after that other lacrosse player that she had way more chemistry with, is all that I'm saying. There are other blonde people. Chapter 16, we're still with Clay and Liv hasn't gotten over it. Obviously, they were finally vulnerable with each other, but that doesn't seem to cross Clay's mind. Callum has also started bothering her even more about getting down and dirty together. And holding off Callum is starting to become a problem. I know he's getting it somewhere else, and I couldn't care less. I don't love him, but what if that's not the reason I don't care? What if I don't care because he's not my type? What if no guy is my type? I drift my eyes around me, stealing quick glances at the students loitering in the hall, seeing his smile, her eyes, the way he wears his clothes, her legs, the way he fills out his shirt, what she looks like underneath hers. And I stop, my gaze lingering on Ava Young, what she looks like when she moves. Her hair is down her back, the softness of her lips, the way she fits her clothes. My stomach roils and I feel the tears burn the back of my eyes. I look away. I shake my head, clearing my throat and stuffing my shit in my locker. No, it's just something about Liv. I'm obsessed with her. I'm unhappy and latching on. That's all she is. Someone to get off on who will keep her mouth shut in an arrangement where I call the shots. We're still waiting for Clay to have her big coming out moment, but we're still stuck in Delulu land. This is the only relatable part because I too thought I could force myself to like men. It's a canon event, I fear. Liv is back in class and she's apparently looking like a snack, but she is firmly ignoring Clay, which she should have been doing from the start. She stares at her test, writing and checking boxes as if I'm not talking. I narrow my eyes. What the hell does she want from me? Fight with me, do something. But I don't know how to battle this, Olivia. She won't talk. I stare at my test, the teacher starting the timer on the projector and flashing the screen on the whiteboard. I gave you my virginity, I whisper. Her pencil pauses. I've had opportunities, Liv. I swallow, coming as close to an apology as I can manage. I didn't hesitate with you. I mean, you told her no, kind of, but whatever. I search for her eyes, but she won't look at me. I never wanted you to stop. I tell her I want more. I want it again. I want more right now. My head spins with all the secluded spots we could find in this school, but I know she won't forgive me that quickly. Ronald Baxter takes the seat next to me, and Liv finally looks up, meeting my eyes. Her gaze falls to my mouth, and I think she might brush her foot over mine under the table or something, but she takes my test, turns on the Bunsen burner, and I watch wide-eyed as she lights the corner, the papers going up in smoke. I see Ronald freeze out of the corner of my eye watching. You left me in the rain. she says quietly, the white papers turning black, curling and peeling. You left me behind in the rain while you drove off with that prick. I stare wide-eyed as my test turns to ash. No commitment works for me, but you damn well better be where you say you're going to be, she bites out. Before I could even worry about what Ronald is making of what she's saying, she dumps my test into the sink and walks away, taking her papers with her. Shit, flex my jaw, watching as she says something to the teacher and then leaves the room. I flip on the faucet, putting out the fire, and snarl at Ronald to mind his own business. Okay, she's not going to forgive me quickly. Fine, but she will forgive me. She just really won't like how far I'm willing to go to force it. I swipe Ronald's test, ignoring his look, and erase his name, writing my own. The first 4 questions are already done. Thanks, Ronnie. How are we supposed to like Clay? I'm genuinely asking. And again, if this was a romantic horror or thriller, I wouldn't care if she's likable. We then flash forward to Clay, who is practicing with Callum dancing for the big debutante ball. I think you'd get tired of my shit, I say as we spin. Keep your head left, Broderick shouts for the millionth time. I face left. You can get from anyone what you're hoping to get from me. Getting it isn't the challenge, he replies. Getting it from you will be so much sweeter. A spark lights up his eyes, the words coming off as more of a promise, like it's inevitable because he always wins and he's not afraid of a little hard work. Honestly, he is pretty perfect, direct, and he doesn't treat me like a delicate flower. I've always appreciated that. Most women would find him overwhelming, brusque even. They need to be seduced. They need to be romanced. They need to be lied to. He doesn't do that. Why don't you tell me to take a hike? He asks. Anyone could escort you to the ball and you couldn't care less if it were me. No, but it's not like I have anyone else in mind either. I want to go to the ball. It's a family tradition. It's my night. I want it. I can't walk on that stage alone, can I? I'm worried there's something in you that I don't see yet, I tell him plainly. Maybe I'll still see it. A smile grazes his lips. He appreciates my candor too. Feel the music, the teacher calls out, stopping Amy and her escort and straightening their shoulders. The chandeliers sparkle above us, and I look away, facing left again as we twirl. The last of the sun glows against the orange wall, the light slowly moving down, down, down as the clouds roll in and the thunder cracks. Instead of staying at home as recommended tonight because of the storm coming, there's a party at the lighthouse. I'm supposed to meet my mother as soon as the dance class is over, but the lighthouse is across the tracks, and it's been a long week, busy ignoring Liv as much as she's been ignoring me, and stupidly thinking she'd give up and come chasing when she wanted me. But she didn't, and I've let her stew long enough. She's going to look at me tonight. We then learn that Callum's dad is sleeping with his stepdaughter who is underage. Gross, call the police, not tell your lesbian girlfriend. But we also already learned that from Macon. So, are we really learning it? No. You're afraid of the dirt, but you know it's there. His mouth trails a line across my temple. And when you get it all over you, Clay, I want to be there. I gaze into his eyes, finally seeing something in him I didn't before. I haven't been in as much control as I thought, and I'm not completely unexcited by that prospect. He picks me up, cocking his head and surveying me like a snake. Who's giving it to you? He asks. I know you're not a virgin anymore, and I know it was recently. I'll keep your secrets, he says, and you keep mine, and what a team will be. I study him, kind of hating him for trying to make this so easy on me. Like my grandmother, he's absolutely fine with me having everything I want as long as I shut up about it. Maybe this is my future, the one way I get to keep Liv. How many husbands will be as understanding? If you want a beard, you have to commit. You can't complain that you're not getting exactly everything you want. I don't know. They leave to go to the lighthouse. While they're doing that, she's talking about how she's dreading leaving now because of Liv. Duh. They get there and the Jaegers are already there. There's a party at the lighthouse and Clay is going to dance. Yay! She tries to make Liv jealous with Callum and then with Christian. It's not apparent if this is working though, because Liv just up and leaves after a while of watching her. Clay thinks she saw Liv walk off with some cute brunette. I fall away from her, stepping back and watching the stairs. How many girls does she have? She thinks she can just move on. She thinks I'm disposable, replaceable. Some cute brunette shakes her skirt at you and you think you can have her. I clench my jaw. I'm sick of chasing her. She said she wouldn't put pressure on me. She said we could keep this quiet. I know what she must have felt, me leaving her on the street like that, but what was I supposed to do? What would she have done? Let's not pretend that after years of me treating her like shit, she's prepared to be seen with me either. How would that look? But we are not a couple. That's not what this is. But we're also not done. I charge after her. She doesn't get the last word. I do.
I saw you hanging out with Caitlin yesterday.
Rebecca, it's not what you think.
I won't hesitate, bitch.
She goes up after her, and there's a cover of Blank Space by Taylor Swift playing, because of course it is. Clay gets up to the service room and no one is there, but when she turns around to leave, Liv is right in the doorway. Where is she? I demand. Who? You know who. A flash of white. I know she's smiling. I glance above me and then back to Liv, knowing her slut is waiting either in the service room or up at the lantern. I wouldn't have missed them if they had come back down. She sticks the foil back into her pocket and steps farther into the room. If these two just communicated, there would be no plot. This book completely relies on the miscommunication trope, which is one of my least favorite tropes in the entire world. Again, you can date someone who is in the closet. There are things that might be difficult, but it can be done. People used to do it much more frequently than they do now. I fear we have lost the plot entirely. Like in these books, everyone thinks that you need to be out all the time. You do not. Not everyone needs to be out. Yes, I gasp. Yes, it felt good. Because I get you off. Right. She grits out. I nod. Yes. She leans into me, pushing me onto the tabletop. The pulse in my being thrums like a jackhammer as she positions herself between my thighs and sets her palms on the table at my sides, looking down at me. Liv, because I'm safe, right? Her tone is an icy bite. The dirty Catholic girl cliche you'll tell your husband about someday. Clay then starts to do sexual things on camera so that Liv can have material to make revenge corn if she needs to. Am I missing something here? What is sexy about this?
Am I so out of touch? No. It's the children who are wrong.
They start fooling around a bit, but one of Liv's brothers comes in. It's Tryst, and he's proud of her for getting with Clay, I guess. Liv promises he won't tell anyone. Clay starts rubbing her crotch on the fly of Liv's jeans. That sounds uncomfortable to me, but I guess I'm envisioning her getting really up in there. They're about to go further with each other when a very loud siren goes off. I wish Penelope would write more plot points that would save me from reading this smut a second time, but there's only so many sirens there can be. Chapter 17, it's an old hurricane siren, like a storm siren. I'm assuming that it's not a hurricane because I would hope that most people would be smart enough not to go to a party in a rickety old lighthouse during one, but I guess you never know. If this book came out now, I wouldn't even think twice about it because they defunded the things we need to warn people about those. Liv tells Clay to get into her brother's truck while everyone is trying to get into their vehicles to get out of here. Christian and her boyfriend Milo are fighting. Milo posted revenge corn of Christian online because he didn't like her dancing with another man. There is a lot of revenge corn in this book. Like even just the thread of it is here. There's so much of it. Christian says she doesn't care if he posts all the videos. Iron gets PO'd about the revenge corn and swoops in like an avenging angel to beat Milo up. Milo and his friends then straight up kidnap Christian with the threat of a gang R. I wish I was making this up. Iron, Clay, Dallas, and Liv are going in the truck after them. They ask Clay where they're going and she's like, I don't know, there's no clubhouse to commit felonies. And Liv instantly thinks of the place she's supposed to meet Callum at some point, Fox Hill. Clay starts to call the police, but Liv stops her because she points out that the police will hurt the poor people in this situation, not Callum and his rich friends, which is surprisingly aware of social issues for Penelope Douglas. I'm not going to lie, it unfortunately forgets the part where Christian is one of those rich white kids and is about to get essayed, and that Clay is another rich white kid who was a witness to the threat. But whatever. We want no pigs for the drama. No, God, you have a beautiful body. She whimpers at my words. I want you to lose it in my bed. You've got to be kidding me. I can do anything you want me to. She whispers, breathing heavy and dragging her hand up and down her body. That's it, Collins. Fuck me. Tryst snorts in the front seat while Iron has turned and is watching her. I see Dallas shake his head. I swallow. Yeah, you liked that, didn't you? I reply curtly. You like me inside you, and you want more of it, not him. You know why? She arches a brow. Because you're gay, I tell her. You're queer, Clay, just like me. The corners of her mouth tighten. I am not. So it's just me then? Just something about me? Bullshit. She was checking Christian out on the dance floor. Well, not really checking her out, but she was definitely noticing her. And if I said I was in love with you, I ask her, what would you feel? She stares at me, her wet blonde hair sticking to her amazing body, and those big blue eyes losing their defiance for a fraction of a second. Her chest caves a little, breathing hard. I'm in love with you, Clay, I tell her. The car falls silent, like my brothers are afraid to breathe because they might miss something. Her lips open a little. God, the softness that hits her eyes makes it look like she'd blow blow over in a light breeze. I swear I see a smile, desperate to get out. I want to say it again. Just kidding, I forced a scoff. Just wanted you to see how fucking gay you are. Oh my god, sick burn, Liv. You totally convinced everyone that you're not in love with her. But you got her good. Liv has to stop her brothers from going to prison, but I don't think that this is the situation for that. Again, attempted gang R. According to her, Iron doesn't care that Milo hit Christian, but he just wants an excuse to fight. Is this supposed to make me like these people? At the end of the book, it shows that Penelope literally wrote a book about the brothers. This doesn't make me want to read that. If you guys want me to read it, I will read it and review it if we get to 1,000 subscribers. That's the only way I'll read that nonsense. Christian doesn't need Iron though, because she launches herself at Milo and starts beating his ass. Iron joins. They're clearly being set up to be a couple. The couple that fights together doesn't devolve into domestic violence together, right? They keep going. Everyone is jumping in except for Clay and Liv. Liv tells Clay to get out of here and make Christian go home. We'll always be this, I tell her loudly, and there's too much going on for anyone to hear us. Do you see that? Me loyal to my family and you afraid of yours and your friends. This is all we'll ever be. Why did she have to come tonight? She should have just left me alone. No one is worth this much trouble, I tell her. Not even you. I feel that this is supposed to be referencing Romeo and Juliet, but I'm convinced that Penelope has never read a Shakespeare play in her life. I don't think she's literate enough for that kind of literature. Araceli, who I forgot was here, immediately jumps on Clay and Liv starts defending her immediately, so everything she just said about them not working out ever just went out the window. Araceli is literally about to stab Clay because she brings out a knife. Liv starts pulling Araceli's hair and also takes out a knife and insinuates that if Araceli doesn't back off, Army will sleep with Clay later. Why is everything in this book motivated by who's sleeping with who? I'm not gay, she says quietly, and I have to strain to hear her over the rain. I'm just in love with you.
I'm not perverted. I get good grades. I go to church. I'm a cheerleader.
Girl, be so for real. You don't even look at men unless you remember you want to look straight to the outside world. We all have to come to terms with our sexuality in our own way, but this is being dragged out longer than it needs to be.
Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay.
There are plenty of people who come out to themselves but are still freaking out about it in their brains. It still feels a bit forced to me. The pigs show up and everyone starts scattering. Liv takes Clay to Lavinia's, which is apparently nearby. They don't get picked up by the pigs, unfortunately for all of us. Liv asks Clay to leave her alone, and Clay asks Liv to stop lying to her. Clay then decides that she's going to give Liv a lap dance at Liv's place of work, that I assume has security cameras because it's the nice part of town. Clay gets down to her panties. Liv wants to leave, but can't because she's so turned on. Being turned on does not mean your legs suddenly do not work. Liv starts petting the kitty, then she inserts a "It's so warm." There's a lot of talk about the moisture levels. It's the same usual stuff in any smut scene in books like this. They're going to town and Clay's mom calls her and Liv tells her to pick it up. Clay lies to her mom and tells her she's with Callum but that she will be home soon. She then changes her mind because Liv is still rocking her world and she says she's going to be staying at Christian's that night instead. Clay reaches the finish line right after hanging up and Liv finishes in her pants. Honestly, good for Liv. She doesn't have to suffer being disappointed by Clay, who still has not participated in any kind of giving at all. Which, by the way, is fine. We're not getting into a discussion about pillow princesses and touch-me-nots and all that. That's fine. We're mad at Clay. It's going to take something bigger and wider than my finger. Contrary to popular belief, a hymen isn't really something you break. It's stretched, flexed, strained. It's not a barrier the way most people think. She sits up and I wipe my finger on my jeans. Look at me, I tell her. She does. Virginity is a concept invented by people to make women feel worthless for having sex. I raise my eyebrows matter-of-factly. You want to worry about protecting something, protect your credit score. That'll come in a lot handier someday. So keep this conversation about virginity in the back of your mind for later, because we've already seen them making a big deal about it, but it will get so much worse later. Clay wants to go home with Liv, and that's what they do. Chapter 18. When they get back, Clay took a shower, and now they're hanging out in Liv's room. Clay wants Olivia to tell her about her first time. Liv tells us that she first went to Pound Town in a car. Liv was very nervous, and she didn't reach the finish line. She reveals that the girl she slept with also slept with Iron later that night. Apparently she was using Liv to get to her brother. Why are all the women in this book misogynists and lesbophobes? Why is everyone so centered around men in this lesbian romance book? I tilt my face to her again. Why do people think sex doesn't mean anything to us? I ask, but I don't wait for an answer. I was alone and it felt good to have someone, but sex wasn't all I wanted. I'd had nothing of my own, and maybe she was an escape for me that afternoon. But in hours, it went from feeling like I finally had something to look forward to feeling like nothing, used, degraded, trash, like it meant everything to me and nothing to her. Even my own family, not one of my brothers, gives a shit about who I sleep with, because they think pregnancy is the only way I can get hurt. They don't ask about girlfriends. They don't think this is anything more than fun. Yeah, it's shitty that her brothers don't ask about her love life, but at the same time, would you really want these horrible men asking you questions like that? They would automatically turn it into sexual questions. I would bet money that your brothers aren't sexualizing your relationships, and it's simply because you're related. If Liv wasn't their sister, they would be the creepy villains of this story, I guarantee it. Clay asks Liv if she wants her to fuck that woman up, and honestly, that's kind of sweet. That's kind of nice. And she asked me if I wanted her to get that lady fired or arrested. I would be into it. A little hot. Liv asks Clay to tell her about her first time teasingly, but it's just annoying because we've had to be present for the entire deflowering, no matter which one they're considering it. Clay says that when she used to think about it, it was carefully planned out and choreographed, but when it was with Liv, she just couldn't control herself. I actually did like this part because I found it relatable. I had really weird relationships with envisioning heterosex for myself. I also hyper planned it and felt a lot of dread. I just wanted to get it over with, and then when it happened, I was like super disappointed. If these characters weren't awful and if the plot mattered, I would have liked this more. This was an okay scene, honestly. Clay tells Liv that she used to dream about them getting it on. Again, denial is a river in Egypt. I shake my head amused. Is this becoming a habit for you? What are you sorry for now? You said you were 15, she says. We knew each other by then. I wanted you then, when I lost my virginity in the back of a car. You should have been at that carnival with me, she tells me. A knot tightens in my throat. I would have loved that. For her to realize sooner that this was going to be good. We might have been happier years ago. But Clay has hurt me as much as anyone else, if not more so who's to say anything would have been different? She might have broken my heart back then. It was always a risk. I get what Clay is trying to say here, but it's kind of weird to focus so hard on virginity, especially after we've established that Penelope is aware that it's not a real thing, but that we focus super hard on it to control women. Liv goes out of the room and her brothers are bragging about the fight because of course they are. They're drunk. God, I wish that was me. Tryst tells her to get Clay out before Mason sees her, and that's fair. Macon storms in with Army right behind him. He is PO'd because they fought. He starts swinging, which is not at all sending a mixed message. Why do they fight? I don't understand why they fight when they have such a great role model around. This confrontation leads Liv to decide that she will help protect the family too, so that Macon doesn't have to do it alone. She goes back to her room and she thinks to herself that she's going to try and keep Clay as long as she can. Chapter 19. Clay is reminiscing about staying at Liv's and how they apparently went at it again on Saturday morning. They are thankfully separate for now and Clay is at school. The new girl Chloe comes up to Clay and they have a very boring conversation. They have a class together and Chloe is from Texas. Chloe wants a study partner and Clay agrees, but immediately thinks about how having a new friend will take up time she could be spending banging Liv. Liv comes up and is an asshole because she's jealous of Clay talking to anyone else. Liv tells Clay to get in the bathroom. I think Liv likes our secret, and although I'm grateful because I just want her to myself, I have to wonder why she's not putting up more of a fight to go public. I know she said in the hotel that this probably wouldn't turn into a relationship given that we're both leaving for college in a few months, but something is eating at me. I told her I loved her. I don't know if she forgot or is ignoring it or she thinks I was lying, but when she said it back, she said she was kidding, so that didn't count. She hasn't said it back yet, not really, and I don't know why. It hurts a little. Part of me wants her to fight me on this, to demand we walk down the school hallway hand in hand. You do not get to complain about a situation you created. You're the one who's in the closet. You could say that you want a relationship and you want to go public with it. This plot point could have been poignant and meaningful, but you'll find out later that it's contrived and stupid. They make out for a little bit and are possessive. Now, I don't mind the possessive stuff if it's done well, but this feels forced and not earned in the slightest. Starting to hook up after one of you bullied the other and you're not dating, but being incensed anytime someone so much as breathes near them is not the move the author thinks it is. I could even be okay with this story if this was a negotiated kink, including the bullying, but it isn't, because no one cares about consent. They talk about why Clay likes octopuses while making out. I would like this if I didn't hate Clay. Ask me about turkey vultures sometime. Clay asks Time what Liv is home so they can hang out. Liv thinks that she wants sex, but they both need sleep. Clay says they don't have to do any of that, which is surprising, and I'm sure it will last 5 seconds. They arrange for Clay to pick Liv up after theater practice. Their coach catches them on the way out of the bathroom, and she says, well, that makes a lot more sense, which, yeah, fair enough. Liv reassures her that the coach won't tell anyone, which is a bold assumption for a private Catholic school. But Clay is busy thinking about how another student could have caught them. Yeah, it's a school.
Randall, there is a cow outside.
There's a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
Liv tells Clay that if she stands her up again, that she will kill her. And they say romance is dead. After school, Clay's mom comes to the school to meet up with her daughter. Clay tries to get out of it by saying that she has her car with her. Her mom wants to spend time with her. What a terrible mother. So I spoke to Kara, she says finally. She's quite concerned because Christian didn't come home Friday night. I turned my eyes out the window the night of the fight, and I don't think she was with Milo. She probably wasn't worried, my mom adds, just that Christian wasn't there to make breakfast for Marshall and Paisley this morning. I was also concerned, my mother says, considering you were supposed to be sleeping over at her house that night. I don't reply. The silence stretches and I hear my mother exhale. You know, you scare me, Clay. Her tone is soft. She's not yelling. I admire how you don't rush to cover your tracks when caught, she tells me. And I appreciate you not wasting time with another lie, but it's also off-putting. She hesitates. It means you don't care if I find out. I am scared, and I do care if she finds out. I won't tell her the truth though. I just won't say anything. It's frightening when you realize you've lost control of your child. But it's not like that. If I tell her about Liv, she'll ruin it. I just want to enjoy it for a while before the stress. Some days I feel your age, she tells me, and I know even less about what I'm doing than I did the day before. You think you'll reach an age when you finally know your place in the world, but nothing ever gets easier. I look at her out of the corner of my eye, her lips pursed as she stares at the road, her beautiful clothes and jewelry, the image of perfection. Not a blemish, barely a wrinkle, not a single dry patch on her hand or a pore on her face visible from where I sit. I want to ask her about the pregnancy. I want to know if it was my father's. I want the stalemate in our lives to end. And I don't want the unknown either. Not all change is good, so I stay quiet. She clears her throat. You're being safe, right? She asks, seemingly resolved to the fact that I'm sleeping with someone and now wants to make sure I'm not an embarrassment. We've had this talk. I'm not raising any more babies. Don't be careless. I know. I don't know if I'm relieved that she hasn't caught my scent yet or disappointed. She thinks I'm sleeping with Callum. I wish I could tell her the truth. I want to tell someone about this excitement I feel every time I look at Liv. I want to share it with someone. Do you want to talk about it? She broaches all of a sudden. I squeeze my eyes shut behind my glasses, almost breaking into a laugh because the words are on the tip of my tongue. When I don't respond, she slows the car and I turn, watching her pull over to the curb on quiet Levinson Lane under the canopy of some Spanish moss. God, just go, please. She puts the car in park and I feel her twist her body toward me to speak. Sex is a big deal, she says, no matter all the images you see on TV and in movies that try to prove otherwise. Yes, we've had this talk years ago, just go. Sex isn't just two people being physical, Clay. Young women especially can get attached and emotionally invested very quickly. It's important we feel connected to the people we're physical with. I nod. And it's very easy to be hurt when we believe they feel the same and we find out they don't. She continues, you don't need to worry. I tell her, gesturing to the road ahead, can we go now? I don't look at her, but I can tell she's studying me. I want to know things, okay? If you're excited and falling in love, I want you to know you can talk to me and share it with me. My jaw flexes, my throat swelling. Is he making you happy? She asks. I draw in a breath. Jesus. Is he gentle? Does he make make it special. I bite the corner of my mouth. I want to tell her how good Olivia Yeager feels. Yes, Mom, she's gentle, and I love it when she's not gentle too. She makes it special. I don't want to be anywhere else when I'm with her. Her mother is trying to connect with her and make sure that she's being safe so that she doesn't ruin her future. I am sick of these books with moms who are like a bit too sexually inappropriate with their kids though. It feels like they are trying to live vicariously through their children. I've said it before in one of my other videos. I had a mom who was very sexually inappropriate around me, and it didn't make me feel like she was cool or sexually liberated. It was gross, and it was honestly a kind of abuse. It can be a kind of abuse. There's this weird enmeshment trend in these books where the moms are like in their kids' skin for no reason. There's nothing wrong with checking on your kids to make sure that they are having safe sex and that they understand consent. I wish my mother had taught me literally anything about consent, and I wouldn't have been in a very bad place I was in, right? But that should pretty much be the limit, in my opinion. You should not be asking if it's like special and like all this other stuff. Like, it starts to feel weird after a certain point. And because my mother was sexually inappropriate, I guess for me, the line is a lot closer to not talking about it than talking about it. But that's just me. I understand that. Clay makes it awkward and promises her mom that she's not going to get pregnant. Then they arrive at her grandmother's. When they're going to have some kind of meal, I can't tell which one because school ended at 2:30 for me in high school. She missed some invisible cue about taking her napkin too fast. This family would hate to see me coming. I can't understand those kinds of things to save my life. They talk about some event for her sorority that's coming up, and Clay confirms that they have RSVP'd and she has done the things on social media she needs to do, etc. Her grandmother tells Clay that she's been reading online and that Clay should delete her social media account history every so often, including her secret accounts. Grandma then tells her daughter that she should do the same thing that she just said. Her grandma says that they have new dresses for Clay to try for the ball. This is when the mother finds out that the dress got messed up. Her grandma is condescending to the mom and says she doesn't know why raising one kid seems to be more difficult for her than raising 4. Honestly, the grandma's smack talk is getting me through the book at this point. After trying on the dresses, she goes outside and sees the butler's wife and Trace having some banter. She asks Trace for a ride back to school. On the way, we get this. So you want me to put my shirt on too? He asks. I turn my eyes on him, not seeing a shirt in sight, so I don't know how he's going to do that. Didn't even notice, did you? He teases, lighting a cigarette. I guess I don't have to worry that you're faking it with my sister. Smoke puffs up as the end burns orange, and I kind of want to ask him for once. I notice men. I wave the air, clearing the smoke. Your sweat and stench, however, outweigh my any attraction. I can shower. He eyes me. Want to help? Help him shower? What are you doing? I ask. My ire perks up that he'd make a pass, and he knows I'm seeing Liv. I didn't peg him for a shitty brother. I don't trust you, he tells me, turning down the music and speeding down the road. I think you'll hurt her. I think you'll get her into a situation that will devastate her. He thinks he knows me. She acts tough, but everyone's the same. He goes on. They just want someone to love, and when a Jaeger gets attached, it's as quick as a flipping switch, Clay. It'll be sudden, and she won't be able to turn it off. A flutter hits my heart, and I'm surprised at myself. I don't feel that for Liv, but the way he describes it, I really want to. I don't want to hurt her, I say. But you hide her. I frown. Everyone gets hurt by love at some point. It's not my intention. But who knows where the next few weeks will take us. I just want to be here today, now, with her. The future is uncertain. Why worry about it? We are none of your business, I tell him. If I decide it's my business, it's my business. His tone is deep and suddenly biting. And I'm the nice one, so it would be wise to have this conversation with me and not the others. We're keeping it quiet, I explain, as if he's entitled to that. We're going off to different schools in the fall, and we don't want others distracting us from what time we have together. Liv agreed. Well, what was she supposed to say? The alternative was demanding you out yourself, which you never would have agreed to, so she took the scraps she could get. He takes a drag off his cigarette. She's used to that. That's not true. Why would he say that? When the choice is either being with someone else, Megan, or that ex at the lighthouse, she chose to be with me, knowing I could be using her, and I might end up hurting her. It doesn't make any sense. Liv is very outspoken, I point out. She would have raised her concerns. She wouldn't have sacrificed her pride to be a booty call if it was a problem. A booty call is better than a long time of nothing. He fires back. You get tired of being alone. So he's saying she chose sneaking around with me over a solid relationship because she likes me a lot. That's what he's worried about. how much she's going to tolerate from me just to have a peace. Liv, well, guilt tugs at me that I'm not broadcasting her to the world. I'm a little happy. She really likes me. You should take her on a date, Tryst adds. You should hold her hand. I'd love to go anywhere with her, go everywhere, but when Callum touches me in public, no one bats an eye. We could be standing on the sidewalk in front of the movie theater, but I can't stand on the sidewalk in front of the movie theater with my hands on Liv's waist or my body pressed to hers. It would be a scene, a statement, and every minute I was out with her, I'd be worrying about everyone looking at us, judging us, talking about us, and I wouldn't be thinking about her or us. I would only be thinking about that. I hate the way things are, I tell him, but I'm afraid everything will change. I can't tell my parents I'm bisexual. I can barely even say the word. What if I'm not? What if it's just Liv? There would be no going back. What if I'm confused? What if I'm wrong? I trail off, my panic evident, but it feels kind of good to let it out, to talk to someone about it other than Liv. Tryst nods. You shouldn't tell them you're bisexual, Clay. He says, you're not. Huh? I mean, some people are. He assures me. But I've also learned that some people will simply say they're bisexual rather than gay because they feel it's easier on their families. I stare at him, his words tumbling around in my head. It softens the blow. He explains, look, Mom and Dad, part of me is still normal. I might still marry a guy, have babies, and not completely fucking embarrass you someday. He turns to me. You strike me as the type of person who would give up as little as possible about herself to maintain the status quo. He says, the one who will sacrifice the bare minimum to get what she wants, but nothing more. I'm so glad that a man is telling her what her sexuality is. Penelope cannot imagine a woman living her own life without some man telling her who she is and what she should be doing. Clay could have come to terms with her sexuality in some meaningful way, but we don't get that in this book. We have to listen to men condescend to her. Clay goes into the theater where Liv is showing the main actor how it's done by playing Romeo on stage. Clay thinks about what a good actress she is and wonders why they haven't given Liv a lead role in the last 4 years. Really? You can't think of any reasons. I can think of several. I hover at the door. I brought you something to remind you of me. I hold the rose and she doesn't look right away, but after a moment she glances up. She eyes the rose looking sad and my heart pounds. Pink? She asks. I step into the room, closing the door and stopping in front of her. I lower myself to the floor and to my knees. Thorns. I set the flower on her dressing table and lay my head on her lap, hoping she forgives me. I'm late and I promised her I wouldn't be. I'm full of thorns, I say softly. There are things about me that I hope are worth it. Girl, you are not worth it. She should go out with someone who is way nicer, but who is into the weird kinks that she's into. They exist. Get on Reddit. Start talking to people. As they leave, Liv says, let's go get you naked. No thanks. Chapter 20, Liv is instantly regretting going to Clay's house instead of a parking lot or her house. It's fair because based on the information we have of Clay's family is bigoted. Keep that nugget in the back of your mind for later. But Liv sees some of Clay's thighs peeking out of her skirt, so the emotional crisis is averted. No one is home, which is good for two girls who want to bang in a childhood bedroom. Clay offers her food, but Liv wants to eat something else. Liv and Clay go by Henry's door, and Liv demands to see inside Henry's room, even though Clay does not go in there. Liv demanding to see her dead brother's room is gross. They do not know each other well enough to be demanding things like this. It would be normal to want to know more about her and her brother if these people had any intention of dating, but they don't. They have both set up firm boundaries about this just being a benefits only situation. Whether they mean it or not, whether they want more or not, that's the situation they fucking agree to. They talk about Clay's brother, about what a cute kid he was, what kind of pranks Clay and he used to pull on each other. I feel like this is some more wish fulfillment. I have a brother only a little bit closer in age to me than Clay and Henry. We have not gotten along since he was maybe 6 years old. I just don't see it happening. Why were you so patient with me? She whispers. So tolerant. I didn't deserve it. I lean in, her silky hair brushing the backs of my hands. Happy people don't fixate on things they hate, I explain. They move on. I knew it was coming from somewhere, Clay. I glide my hands down her body and circle her waist as we hold each other, and I stare into her eyes. It doesn't matter how much money we have or don't have, or how stable our home is. Anyone can have problems. I never thought Clay's life was gold just because she's rich and beautiful. Happy people don't act how she did. But rich people have significantly less problems than people like Liv. Money can buy a certain extent of happiness, guys. Clay has never had to worry about where her next meal will come from, or if she'll have a roof over her head, or if some rich white people will come and buy their property, or gentrify and price them out of the neighborhood. I'm so sick of the massive amount of empathy we are expected to have for rich people. Also, rich people who are running around bullying people. Did we forget about that? I don't know. In the making out, there's like the use of the word let, which I don't like in this context. It feels weird with the power dynamic thing that Penelope always uses when she writes about women. It feels like women don't get to have sexual relations. They let other people do things to their body. It's gross. Thankfully, they don't start going at it in Clay's dead brother's room. I was really worried we were about to do that. I know someday everyone will be watching you, she says, biting my ear. As you play, she pauses, thinking, Mad Max, surrendering to the animal inside you as you navigate the barren wasteland of Earth to avenge the death of your wife and child. I laugh, but she's kissing and biting everything in my ear, my neck, and my head drops back, my eyes closing. Or maybe you'll be her love interest, Clay teases, a damsel in distress. It feels gross and strange for Clay to start being nice to Liv about what she wants to do with her life when it's clear they're both not really into that. And being nice and then following it up with a threat of stalking, which happens right after, by the way, is crazy. Don't worry, she gets worse. She pulls out a knife. Knife play is a thing, but you need consent. Liv starts taking off her clothing when she's directed to at knife point. Clay throws everything off of her desk. Liv leans on the desk, I think while facing it, but Penelope is terrible at telling you how these people are moving. Clay keeps telling Liv she's never getting away as she starts fondling her chest. Liv has Clay take pictures on a traditional camera of her naked, a little tit for tat for the other pictures from last time. These people are idiots for doing this in a book that has a shocking amount of revenge porn in it. Clay starts chowing down. Clay wants Liv to be louder, so Liv does what she's told. She then puts a digit just barely in. This is the only sign that she doesn't know what she's doing. Liv has to tell her how to find the inside spot that starts with G. Liv gets off. Yay. Liv is immediately suspicious of how Clay got so good at eating, and Clay tells her she watched Corn. Corn, okay, I watched a couple of Corn videos. I cock an eyebrow. She'll have to show me those. Most lesbian porn is made by men who do what they think looks good on camera instead of what actually feels good to women. Just because you acknowledge it doesn't mean the plot hole suddenly goes away, Penelope. Clay decides that they're still going and puts 2 digits. We hear about the dampness. I'm trying my best. Liv starts ripping Clay's clothes off as they keep going. Clay gets a call while they're still going. Would that be your boyfriend? I whisper, teasing. God, what I wouldn't give for Callum Ames to see his prom queen between my legs. She thrusts her tongue licking my hard nipple, and I hold her close. Fuck me, Clay. The ringing keeps going, the pulse in my clit hammers, and heat pools in my belly as my orgasm crests. I brush my lips gently over hers. He doesn't need to know, I tell her. Just fuck me, Clay. Fuck me harder. Again, I don't know why Liv can't just find someone who likes to have a slightly BDSM dynamic and who is also into cucking. She shakes and I burst, crying out in the dark house, my orgasm exploding as her hips jolt into me like a car crash. That sounds more painful than fun. Everyone needs an emergency visit to the OBGYN. They cuddle and fall asleep. Liv is woken up because she has to use the bathroom but doesn't want to get up. You should always go immediately after having relations with someone. It can help prevent UTIs. The piece doesn't last long because they can hear Clay's parents fighting. You're drunk, a man yells somewhere down the hall. I freeze, training my ears. Did Clay lock her door? Keep your voice down, a woman snaps. I glance over at the clock, reading 1:08 a.m. and try to be as still as possible. I should get out of here before her parents find me. Is she even home? The man Clay's dad, I assume, asks. Are you sure? I don't think you know anything about what's going on with anyone but yourself. How dare you? Gigi yells. How dare you? I'm the one here. You're gone. You're gone. You're always gone. I hold Clay, wondering how often they don't guard their volume to save her from hearing them. Grow up, Regina, Mr. Collins growls. I support you. I pay for that closet full of handbags and shoes. Now I gotta dry your tears because you need attention like a 5-year-old. I hate you, she sobs. I stop breathing for a second, hearing the tears and agony in her voice, like she wishes he were dead. You don't hate me, he replies. You hate that I finally decided not to let you drag me down with you. Just skip over that. I gave up on you because you know why, her dad dad fires back, we lost a son. We lost a son and I needed you, and you know what you did? You went to the spa. You got a prescription. You spent Henry's college fund redecorating this house and buying Clay a car. You wouldn't come to me. You wouldn't talk to me. You wouldn't go to therapy with me. You barely let me touch you in 4 years, Gigi, and when I did, you aborted the only chance we had to be a family again. I needed you. I needed that baby. I lost Henry, same as you. I hear her sob and I try to picture it, but Clay's mom has always seemed like an icicle and I can't. I run to her bed, Mr. Collins continues, because if I didn't have that to look forward to, I wouldn't be able to stick this out until Clay graduates. Clay's parents' divorce matters as much to me as the opinion of cis-het men's does. This is supposed to make us feel bad for Clay, like she has things going on too. An explanation does not excuse abusive behavior. Chapter 21, Liv takes a shower before they leave Clay's house for school. While she's doing that, Clay thinks about her mom's shmamortion. Was my dad telling the truth last night? Are they just holding it together until I leave for college? And the pregnancy was my dad's baby after all. How in the hell could she do that? Is she trying to destroy what little we have left? Penelope's breeder agenda is so apparent. This woman lost her son, and not that long ago. It is perfectly understandable that she doesn't want to have another kid. Also, it's her body. She should be able to do whatever she wants with her own body, even if it's just because she feels like it. You cannot make me agree with this bigoted conservative bullshit. Clay's mom calls her over and apologizes for the night before. Her mom tells her that she and her dad are going to fix this and that they'll have more time to fix it when Clay's away at college. I abandoned him, she finally says, shocking me. He's right, I couldn't think about anything else other than my pain, and I couldn't muster a care for my daughter or my husband. I listened, having wanted to see her facade crack for so long, but not sure I like it now that it has. He's going to leave me, Clay, she says matter-of-factly, and part of me understands why, and the other part can't forgive him. She looks up at me. How could he think about anything else? How could he want a woman when our son is underground? Because it's not about the sex. Liv feels good to me. Everything feels good with her, and I crave her every moment, but it's not about the sex. It's about everything that comes with it, talking to her, touching her, her scent, and the promise of more. The feeling of how she loves my body, and how being with her and doing things that make her breathless reminds me that I feel just a little bit lonely with everyone else in my life except her. It's about having someone to look forward to who wants your love. How dare this book try and make it seem like the husband is in any way justifiable? This woman lost her 10-year-old son in a horrifying way. All the money she has did not save her son, and her husband decided to cheat on her instead of understanding and giving her some grace, or pushing couples therapy harder, or just indulging in some good old-fashioned self-pleasure. He is the one to blame for their marriage falling apart, not her. You cannot make me root for this man, Penelope. Her mom says, you can wear whatever you want to the ball. I just want you to be happy. Her mom asks if she had someone over last night because they can hear Liv moving around. Clay tries to lie at first and say that it's Christian, but she comes clean immediately. The only reason she has been in the closet this long is because the only person she's good at lying to is herself, apparently. Clay's mom is worried because she sees Liv as like the motorcycle girl and she doesn't want Clay getting in any more trouble. Based on Liv's family, even though this is a classist take, I can understand where she's coming from. Even Clay thinks it's weird that her mom lets it go easily and doesn't mention anything about Liv being openly gay. Clay lets Liv drive her car when she won't let her boy toy do it, and she's covering up her hickeys with foundation. Rookie move. Her mom literally just saw all those then. Amy and Christian act weird when they see Clay show up with Liv. Clay just changes the subject to their mani-pedi appointments and limo reservations. Very smooth. No one thinks anything is weird at all. Amy gives Christian and Clay condoms because she's clearly sleeping with one of Liv's brothers. Christian, not Amy. Amy then tells Clay that she should get her first time over with and that the first time always sucks. Clay wants Amy to shut up, and I get it. Clay stews because Liv has some friends now and isn't all alone. Oh no, the horror. And the walls close in a little watching them. Liv is going to realize she deserves more and she'll have no trouble getting it. Megan wants her and I'm pretty sure Chloe isn't straight either. Liv could pursue her. She'll meet other women at college too. Part of me wonders if Amy is right. Just get it over with. Maybe I need to know for sure. Maybe I should just screw Callum so I know for sure. But I know I only want to do it in the hopes that I see something in him that will save me from having to take the step I'm so afraid to take. In hopes that I'm not in love with her. I don't need to face anything and I don't need to suffer when it's time to leave her. We're gonna skip down slightly. Liv's leggings look a lot like the Michi ones you have, I hear Christian say. I blink. Huh? Liv walks to the stationary bike and I notice the clothes they gave her to wear. I turn to Christian. But that can't be, she says as she runs. There's no way she has $200 for yoga pants, right? And then she winks at me just like Liv just did with a smile. Fuck. They couldn't have been more obvious if they had brought a sign in to school that said, "We banged last night." Clay starts freaking out because she thinks Christian knows. She tries to smooth things over by lying, but as we've established, she's terrible at lying. Look, don't tell Amy that Jaeger and I are kind of friends. I tell her as everyone filters out of the classroom. I'm trying to grow up a little. She was late this morning, forgot her gear. I let her borrow some clothes from my locker. Christian doesn't look at me, so it dampens down my bag. Maybe I'm hoping she invites me over to where her hot brothers live, I tease. But Christian continues to exit the classroom and then stops outside the door, stepping to the right to let other students out. Clay, she holds a book to her chest and gives me a placating smile. I may have let my piece of shit ex-boyfriend get away with so much because I lack self-confidence, and sometimes it was either him or home, and I didn't want to go home, she explains. But it's not because I'm a moron, so please, I'd rather not explain at all than insult me with a lie. My face falls. She pats my arm. I'm here when you're ready. See you in the gym. At least someone in this book isn't an idiot. I slow my steps, following her gaze. A noose hangs out of her locker as people pass by, some whispering, some oblivious, and some snickering. A noose like Allie Carpenter. Liv's hand hangs from the strap of her bag, limp like she's been deflated, and I look at her face, seeing shock turn to defiance as she closes her mouth and flexes her jaw. I just want to wrap my arms around her. I'm here, baby, I'm here. She heads to her locker, dials in the combination and opens it, the noose dangling against the metal. Without a look to the bystanders drifting back and forth with their eyes, I charge over and grab the noose, ready to yank it free of the tape, but Liv stops me. Leave it, she says. Liv, leave it, Clay. I stare at her and fight in her tone, making it seem like she's mad at me. Why? I ask, trying to keep my expression even. Because it checks my reality. She replies stiffly, stuffing her bag into her locker. This isn't the first time. It's a little late to care now. This is such a stark tone difference for no reason at all. We don't have to be hit over the head with the homophobia from all the other characters because Clay is homophobic enough for everyone. They decide that hate crime is a good excuse to talk about the state of their relationship yet again. I want you to make me show it. I say, why don't you make me show it? Why do you let me act like a coward? She stands there back to me, but after a moment, she turns her head, saying in a low voice, because I'll never do anything to bring you more pain. What we're doing has a shelf life anyway. It's not worth it. It's just fucking Clay. Clay then shows Liv a toy that she just ordered for them to use, and it can go in both of them and it vibrates. The strapless. We all know what I'm talking about. She then starts rubbing Liv outside her underwear. How is the reminder that there are a lot of people nearby who want Liv to off herself something that can make them horny? Because there are more important things to worry about right now than the two of you hooking up. When Clay leaves, she runs into Callum, who is making out with some other girl. The girl runs off after they both see Clay. Callum exposition dumps what their whole relationship is about for him, which is that Clay would be a status symbol and a trophy wife. He's totally fine with them both having lovers now and in college, but they will eventually end up together. Liv appears from around the corner, and Callum sees the way Clay looks at her because she is fucking obvious. Callum stills, his eyes darting from me to her and back again. Oh, I see. He beams. Well, my perception sucks. Damn. I shove out of his arms, growling, what are you talking about? Just, Clay, I'm into it. He cuts me off. I'm really into it. He smiles, coming in again, and I see Liv walk past him toward the front doors. You can have as many women as long as I get to watch. My stomach roils. Oh, God. As long as you're only mine after the ball, he says, and then he takes my hand and places a small vial with white tablets inside my palm. These will help your legs fall apart. What? He leaves, and I look back toward the direction Liv walked, but she's already gone. Opening my fist, I see the pills and have to swallow to keep the bile from rising. Molly, I feel sick. Holy mustache twirling villain, Batman. Also, the fact that no one suspected until now is the most unrealistic thing about this. I would have been placing bets that Liv and Clay were making out behind closed doors, and I would have been right. Liv is lamenting her life choices yet again. The reason this book is 500 pages long is because we have to keep repeating why they can't be together over and over and over again, to the point where the drama is just concocted. It is not real, and we will get to that in this part of the review. Clay's never going to stand out by choice. She was always going to wind up with Callum or someone of the like because that's what perfect looks like. I know that. I've always known that. But God, it sucked to see her in someone else's arms. I didn't expect it to suck that much. I'm pretty sure she didn't invite it, but she will choose him. Ultimately, that soulless, arrogant prick who hires people to do all his thinking for him. He doesn't know what she likes. But then I falter. Does he? Neither one of these people wanted to just hook up. I am so tired of these books having two people who clearly want to be together, but for some false reason they just aren't. Like, you slowly figure out that there's no reason why they can't be together. Again, like, Clay could just be in the closet and they could be exclusive with one another. I know that I'm repeating myself like a broken record, but so is this book. So you can't blame me. Liv is at work and comes to help Amy, who apparently looks terrible in the color that they picked out for her for the debutante ball. Liv and Clay are texting back and forth about how Clay doesn't want Callum, but Liv knows that she will choose her in the end. Then they get over it for a bit and talk about how much they want to hook up again, but then the entire conversation goes sideways. Megan asked me to go to prom I type with that new girl, Chloe, as friends. I wait, seeing the red receipt, but seconds turn into a minute and she's not replying. She's not even typing. If none of us have dates, we'll go together. I hesitate, my mouth dry as my fingers hover over the screen. I'm going to say yes. She sees the text, but still nothing. That's good, I guess. This is the reality. If I'm not going with her, I'll go with someone. I wait another few minutes and I text again. We're meeting up this weekend to dress shop. I toss the phone down, but it immediately rings. I stare at it, the pulse in my neck kicking into gear. Great. I answer, no time to say hello before she speaks. That girl doesn't take a hint, does she? This isn't about her and you know it. I know very well that the shit she pulled with Megan was scaring her away from me, and while I kind of like Clay's jealous side, Megan's not the issue. You don't even want to go to prom, she says. When did I say that? I lower my voice so Lavinia doesn't hear. I'd actually like to go. You'll be with Callum anyway, so why shouldn't I? You thought I'd stay home waiting for you to call afterward when you're ready to have sex? When I'm good enough for that? Why is all the insane jealousy making you smile? Just because she's jealous does not mean she will ever commit to you. All of this is written alarmingly like how Penelope writes her men. It's as though she cannot fathom that lesbians are not just men with tits. Chapter 23. They're making out in an empty classroom. So much for Clay being worried about getting caught. They're rubbing clams again. If anyone knows a good book with scenes like this and with strapping, please let me know. But the requirement is they cannot have barely legal people or underage people. I just want adults, please. Also, if the plot isn't abysmal, drop them down below. I am looking at some dark romances that aren't this, but this is my first taste, and it's not looking like I'm gonna like this stuff, to be perfectly honest with you. And I like horror, so you'd think maybe I could get into this, but it's, I would love to be excited about good sex scenes with those kind of scenes in them, but this book is god-awful. They break apart, Liv has to get to the theater, and Clay is going to meet with her friends. They plan to meet each other at 8 after their things are done, and Liv asks Clay if the toy she ordered is here yet. Clay just whips it out because she brought it to school. Clay asks if the toy is okay. It's like a double inserted fur strap stuff, okay? I'm trying to get monetized someday, okay? And because Liv doesn't answer immediately, Clay starts babbling and is like, oh my god, I should have let you pick because you have actual experience. But then Liv is like actually excited to do it, so that whole conversation was pointless. They kiss and say goodbye. Unfortunately for Clay, Amy caught her. Who could have guessed? What are you doing, Clay? Leaving? I close my eyes, dread twisting my gut. That damn app. I completely forgot we all downloaded it years ago to locate each other. I've never used it to find my friends, so it didn't occur to me that they would. She grabs my arm and swings me around. What the hell is going on? She barks. It takes a moment, but I recover. Lots. I step over to my locker and dial in the combo. The House passed a cybersecurity bill this morning, although it will probably die in the Senate. The president ordered airstrikes on Syria. There's a storm advisory for this weekend, and I scuffed my vintage saddle shoes at lunch. I pull out my handbag, empty my satchel, and refill it with what I need for homework. Clay, I'm your best friend. She steps to my side, or one of them anyway. What the hell were you two doing in there? The shade was down on the door. Could she have opened it and peeked inside without us hearing? But I guess she wouldn't have needed to. We kissed right outside the door like idiots. We were knitting sweaters, I mock. Bullshit. Her voice sounds like she's spitting out a bug. God, Clay, seriously? I've been naked in front of you, slept in your bed. Are you serious? I slam the locker door and keep walking. She follows. I'll tell your parents, she says behind me. I'll have to. I stop. Excuse me? I turn, glaring at her so hard my eyes feel like they're on fire. I don't give a shit about what those woke assholes try to tell us. She spits out. There's something mentally wrong with people like Olivia Yeager. I reach out, grab her by the collar, and haul her ass into an empty classroom. She stumbles, and I let go, yanking the door closed behind me. It's not natural, Clay, she argues. Just stop. Right now. I'm not letting you throw your whole life away. I advance on her, and she backs up. Clay, you're not gay, she tells me. She's confusing you. You've been through shit, and you're an easy target. Shut up. I drop my bag to the ground, and she bumps into a desk, quickly stepping away. So you're telling me we're going to raise our kids next door to each other someday? You, a man-hating dyke with a shitty haircut and your sperm donor offspring, and me with my kids asking why Auntie Clay is groping the babysitter? I grab her by the collar with both fists and slam her up against the wall. She whimpers and tries to push me off, but I grip her hair at the scalp with one hand and dig my fingers into her stomach, pinching the skin there with the other. She cries out, Clay! Shh, I whisper over her lips. She squirms, but her hair is wrapped around my fingers and she's trapped. Stop, she snibbles, but I'm not listening. If you ever speak to me this way again, I will knock your teeth out. Stare down into her eyes, a new energy filling me that kind of scares me, but I won't fucking stop. Nothing comes between Liv and me. Do you understand? Fear fills her blue eyes and I squeeze harder as she tries to shift out of my grasp. Do you understand? I bellow. Clay, but I'm doing the talking now. Now, Amy, I realize your sister is a Jesus freak who mainlines coke to cope with her minister husband getting another woman pregnant. I say calmly but firmly. And your father likes to court teenage boys for 2 weeks every summer in Thailand. So you're just projecting your demons onto an easy target. But if you're not my friend anymore, I bite out my words and dig my fingers in harder. I just don't know how I'll survive. She groans. Everyone will believe you and not me. I tell her, both of us knowing that's not true at all. Because your word means so much more than mine, right? Wrong. I continue, the sudden rush of power emboldening me. I'll lose all my friends, I say. The rest of the school year will suck. No parties, no prom. Can you imagine the TikToks and snaps? I mean, is it me who has several gay bashing posts for people to find on my feed? Is there a picture of me in blackface at a Halloween party from a few years ago? No, that's all her, and my threat hangs in the air, her eyes widening as she remembers who's really in fucking control here. Clay, those have been screenshotted already, I say. Won't look good when you apply to Omega Chi or go for a fucking job interview in 5 years. Hatred for you will go viral, I gasp. I was Beyonce, she whimpers, trying to explain her Halloween costume, but I push her into the wall again before I let go. I swipe my bag off the ground and hook it over my shoulder as she stands frozen against the wall. If she talks, I will end her. And don't worry, I say, casting her a glance up and down like I'm checking her out, like I ever checked her out when she was sleeping over at my house or naked in a dressing room with me. I was never tempted. You ain't got what Liv's got. Clay then goes out into the hallway and screenshots the posts that she didn't actually know were there. She was just bluffing, but it turns out she was right. But you would also think that Amy would find out a sneaky way to out Clay because she's a homophobe, but this literally goes nowhere. This could have been a bigger plot point that actually kind of mattered, but it didn't because none of this matters. I would have liked Clay chewing out and threatening Amy if it wasn't for the fact that she was friends with her this entire time, which means she was fucking co-signing and on board with everything Amy was doing. It wasn't a deal breaker for her, so it's not actually that big of a deal to her. Only now that there's a problem for her, does she care about any of this stuff. Clay goes to Mariette's and gets there early for her date with Liv. Liv shows up in a short skirt and a really girly outfit. I really didn't picture Liv as girly this entire time, but of course she is. A butch would send Penelope Douglas into cardiac arrest. Actually, forget I said any of that. The last thing I want is for her to try and make a butch character.
Stay away from my man, home record. Nobody comes between me and my man.
Stay away from the butches, Penelope. Stay away. They're both really nervous, which would be fine if they hadn't been enemies for years and know all of the worst shit about each other possible. Now, it's supposed to be one of the good things about enemies to lovers is that they have seen you at your worst and love you anyway, but we're just gonna do normal teenage girls nervous. It's not like this date is going to lead to a deeper connection between them anyway. They're just going to bone. Clay talks about seeing Liv in this only skirt that she owns that's not for school a couple years ago in some antique store or furniture store or something. It's not important. It doesn't matter. It also doesn't like add to their relationship or anything like that. So I don't really know why it's here. Oh no. They ordered oysters because of course they did. Way to be right on the nose, Penelope. Ugh. I hated every moment of it. It was gross. Like, a lot of erotic oyster eating, and I don't really see how that's erotic. It just seems really gross to me. Whatever. I don't know. They're teenagers. They're like Santana from Glee. They're turned on by anything, including bushes that are like vaguely human shaped. Clay asks Liv if she wants like a part 2 to the date, like walking on the beach or going to a movie. Of course, Liv doesn't want to do that because they have nothing in common and Clay is a terrible person. Of course, she just wants to smash. Of course, she just wants to hit that. If they talk, she'll be reminded how much she hates this person. Their date gets interrupted by the usual suspects of Callum, Milo, Amy, and their background cronies who don't get names. I still don't get why they cross over to the poor side of town for this one restaurant. There's not been like a good enough reason so far, but they're here to harass them, I guess. Callum grabs my fork. Heard you were here without me, he says, and here I thought you were with one of the Jaeger boys. He looks from me to her. Team meeting, ladies. Bored aims, Liv fires back, money, sex, privilege, but you're still so bored you gotta come all the way over here to look for entertainment, huh? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't get it. Whatever. You know, they have like a yacht to crash into something. I don't know. I hold my glass, the icy condensation cooling my palm, but not the rest of me. All the way over here, Liv taunts, because if I were Clay, I wouldn't want you. She glances at me. If I were Clay, I would find you pretty pathetic, and that must piss you off. His gaze sharpens on her, and I watch them, ready to mobilize if he moves. She fixes her eyes back on him. I'm even willing to bet you don't get her hot. Or any woman, for that matter. That's why you're sexually abusive, isn't it? Abusive? ... What? They don't get hot, Liv says again. They smile, and they fawn, and they fake, and then she sits up, rolling her hips a little and moaning. Oh, you're the best, Cal. The best. She follows with more whimpers and groans. I bite back my smile. Maybe she is hooking up with one of my brothers. Liv shrugs. Maybe more than one. I have 5 after all. Sometimes they work as a team. I mean, how could you compete? So sweaty. Callum then threatens to carry out Liv and maybe Clay because it's 5 against 2, but Liv obviously texted her brothers because duh. Also, Callum is written like some kind of cartoon villain. Like, I don't like defending men. I don't enjoy it. I think men are trash. But we're also making a lot of assumptions. He's rich, he's attractive. Like, I'm sure, unfortunately, there are plenty of straight girls who want to sleep with him. I'm not saying that he's great at it, but I am saying there are plenty of straight girls who date Republicans who are bad at it and who have no money. At least he has money. I'm pretty sure Macon owns this restaurant, but I can't remember, so it makes sense why they're there so fast. I mean, this also seems to be the only place anyone hangs out ever. There's nowhere else anyone goes, so they're there very quickly. Christian shows up with Tryst because they've been hooking up, and I fucking called it. Callum then asks the Tryst Six if they know about the break-in at Fox Hill. They deny that they know anything about it. Oh, this is disgusting, so we have to read this. I stare at Liv, shaking my head. You're enjoying this. Oh, immensely. She grins, her face flushed with enjoyment as she speaks to her brothers again. I told him it was probably 2 of you. Oh, why'd you have to go and tell him that? Dallas teases. She shrugs. Everyone knows you and Iron are a team. I guess our secret's out, Dally. Iron boasts, the brothers skimming their palms together and ending with a fist bump. For the millionth time, how am I supposed to root for these people? They're disgusting. And why are the 2 brothers like the brothers in Credence? I hate this. All I want to do is go back to reading good books again. Please. Clay gets mad for Liv insinuating that she would sleep with her brothers. I mean, it seems like everyone's sleeping with them though, so is it really an insult? They're all like the town bicycle. Everyone gets on and has a little ride. But I also can't blame her because these men are like cavemen. And I would be insulted too. So she starts a food fight by throwing pie at Liv. Everyone joins in on this food fight. This book is so unserious. Clay gets hit with some mashed potatoes, and if that ever happened to me, I would never go back to this restaurant, let alone go back in public ever again. Not because it's embarrassing, but because the idea of that texture touching me with clothes on makes me want to hurl. My sensory issues could never. I couldn't do it. Liv gets excited because now she gets to wash Clay. Ew. They both leave and they think that it was a pretty good first date. If it was me, I would be Venmoing for compensation because and I would never go on a second date, but these 2 were awful, so they just got in the shower. There's something mentally wrong with people like Olivia Jaeger. I shake with a laugh at Amy's words today. Then there's something wrong with me too. I'm so hard for her already. I'm sick of it. I think we all maybe need to repent. I'm not even super religious, but I think maybe we should. It would be nice to see Clay think these thoughts more and work on accepting herself, but she never actually does accept herself, not out loud or in her head. I don't think she says the L word about herself in the entire book, even though that's so clearly what she is and everyone else knows it too. It's giving when JoJo Siwa said she doesn't like the word lesbian. I also wrote this before JoJo Siwa got interviewed and said that she felt pressured to come out as a lesbian. Bitch, we never wanted you. What do you mean? We accepted you reluctantly. They are making out in the shower. Liv is the one who decides to go down on her knees to the buffet. Please remember that they are in the shower because we're gonna get there. Liv puts in a finger, and thank God they're going to do some kind of prep before they put in a toy that sounds absolutely massive. This is still probably 100% assuredly not going to be enough, but I am going to get into it. They decide to go all the way in the shower because Liv doesn't want them both to get cold. If you know anything about Susby and Lex, you will know where I am going with this. Liv puts it in her end, and then Clay tries to put it in, but it is too big. Liv is like, hey, maybe let's slow down, let's try something else. But Clay is like, no, I'm gonna make it fit, and forces herself on it, which is not a good idea at all. They're now going to town with Clay on top. They're still in the tub. Remember when I said that they were in the shower? It's time for some sex ed. When you were in water, water washes away your natural lubricant, which would make this specific act not only difficult, but probably painful. But Shelby, there is water. Yeah, water does not make a good lubricant for this specific activity. It evaporates much faster, and it doesn't have like a film between the surfaces to help with chafing and other things. You might think that because you've poured water on the floor and you've slipped in it, that water makes things slippery. You're incorrect in this specific scenario. This is a horrible, terrifying thing to put in a new adult book where people don't know how to have sex a lot of the times, at least not properly, especially queer people who are not able to access the correct information. This is harmful to be spreading around. Oh my god. Anyway, they both keep going and they get off nearly at the same time. Yay. Liv wants to go again, but Clay's like, yeah, let's go again, but in the bed this time. She also wants Liv to be on the bigger end and to do reverse cowgirl. This just has to be the kinkiest position that Penelope Douglas can possibly imagine, because I've seen some of the sex scenes from her other books, and dear lord. She holds up one end of the toy under the spray, and I see the water turn a little pink from my blood. I feel a blush cross my cheek and a smile begging to get out at the reminder of what she did to me. How I can't go back now. Then she turns it over and washes the other end. Again, more blood. I shoot my eyes up to her, but she's not looking at me. Wait, you never did that with anyone before? I gave it her. No, she says quietly, still not meeting my eyes. I thought that. My mouth falls open and I want to speak, but I don't know what to say. There are too many thoughts. It was her first time too. Let's unpack this. Bleeding can happen from this kind of thing. For some people, it happens every single time, not just the first time. But with the right prep and lube, it is not supposed to. Obviously, there are other anatomy reasons as to why, but like, it's not supposed to. We also had that stupid conversation where Penelope acknowledged that virginity is not a real thing and it's something used to control women, but she still makes it this huge deal because Liv lost her first time with a phallic object, which is very clear that's mostly what Penelope views as sex, because we've gone through the fact that they had sex multiple times before they even considered the first time the first time. That is not how that works. Like, they make such a big deal out of this for the two of them because there's a phallic object involved. No one has to use those. Lesbians can still have sex and never use those. You can have sex with people without doing anything internally. You can. And I'm so sick of people pretending that you can't. I hate people who are attracted to men's arbitrary standards of what sex between people who are assigned female at birth constitutes as sex. You are not the people who get to decide that. And it's also just so hypocritical. It's driving me nuts. Chapter 24. Liv wants Clay to stay and borrow some clothes from her, but Clay says she can't because she has to brush her teeth and she has to go home and get some kind of books or something for school. Macon tells Liv to finish with Clay because he thinks that Clay is using her and that she does not see her as a real person and that she will use her but never be seen with her. Never see what they have as like a real relationship. And Macon is right, and I'm sick of pretending that he isn't. We're mostly adults here, I hope. If you're not, please leave. Get out of here. Shoo, get lost. But since we're mostly adults here, hopefully all adults, honestly, we have the gift of perspective. We can see what Macon can see easily. Because behind the hormones and the whatever else going on, Clay is never going to come out for Liv. Clay does not want to give up her more privileged position in life and all of her privileges to be with Liv. She's not going to. She has no plans to. And they have been together for such little time with college on the horizon that it doesn't even make sense that she would. This was never supposed to be a real relationship. Liv coaches herself in her own head that she doesn't love Clay, and babe, if you have to convince yourself, have I got news for you. Liv sees Amy leaving one of the bedrooms where Dallas and Iron are. Remember how we talked about that earlier? We talk about how gross this is because they're fully related. They're probably fully naked with each other. And if they're doing the scene out of Credence where it's a double team on one person at the same time, they're definitely slapping sacks. That is incest, my guy. That's just straight up incest. They're fully related. They were raised together. What is Penelope's problem with incest? But I hesitate. Are you okay? I asked, just making sure. They're experienced. She's not, and I don't want her suddenly feeling guilty about whatever happened in there. Not that I think Dallas and Iron would coerce her into a situation she wasn't comfortable with, but it's a lot. You don't think your misogynistic brothers, who just had sex together with a girl who is barely an adult, you don't think they would coerce her into anything? Really? Be so fucking for real right now. Liv is back at school and she's hanging out with her new friends and she's being edgy by telling Chloe that she'll only wear black. Look, black is my favorite color, but I'm not one of those people. Also, why are Penelope Douglas protagonists all the same? Like, not a single one of these people is actually goth. They're just vaguely, if you squint, alternative-ish, and that's it. Liv thinks to herself that dating Chloe would be easier, and I agree. But can we choose something healthy? No, why would we do that? Chloe asks Liv if she has a girlfriend, and Liv lies and says yes she does, even though we all know and we are all aware of the fact that she and Clay are not dating. Liv says that they're not going to prom together though because it's too complicated. That's an oversimplification if I ever heard one, Batman. Liv opens her locker and freezes because she thinks that it's a hate letter. Clay has done some serious psychological damage and trauma to her, but it's minimized because she's hot. You can be the most physically attractive person in the world, but if you're a bully, you are unattractive automatically. You are ugly. Don't worry, it's a really dumb love letter from Clay. It never looks like me, the person in the mirror. The black script reads, she looks like everyone else. I look around, not seeing anyone else in the hall except for a few loiterers down by the doors to the lunchroom. I keep reading. She's like every woman on his arm. The same hair, the same clothes, the same smile. Because to beat, she has to compete, right? I stood in front of the mirror this morning, a mouthful of toothpaste, and my hair tangled by your fingers. You sucked my lips swollen last night, and I can still smell your kisses on my skin. Ew. Ugh. Let's keep going. We gotta keep going. The world swims how hard I'm used by you. How all I have when you're done with me is my bones. I don't care what I look like anymore as long as I look like yours. Marked, raw, tangled, sore, and scented like you. I don't care as long as I look like yours. My eyes burn, a baseball lodged in my throat as I read it again and again. As long as I look like yours. A tear spills down my cheek and I hear a locker open. I look over my shoulder down the hall and see Clay watching me as she pulls out a book. A single tear for that nonsense? Oh my god. And then Clay texts her, just as long as I look like yours. I need her skin on mine like I need food more than I need food. That was a fragment because it's I need her, period. I need her skin on mine like I need food, period. More than I need food, period. We're just repeating ourselves to fill up a page count, my guy. I love Clay Collins, but why do you love her? I still don't understand why these people are supposedly in love with each other. Attracted to each other, fine. In love with each other? Yeah, they apparently have great but unsafe sex, but do they talk to each other? Can they trust each other? The answer is no to both of those questions. Clay is at her grandma's house. She texts Liv and asks for a picture and then gets upset because Liv sends a picture of her food, of her dinner, and Clay wanted a picture of her face. Well, be specific, bitch. Clay eavesdrops on her grandma and her mom. Whoa. I was gonna quote some of this, but I'm just gonna sum it up. I feel like the parent drama is not super important, and you'll find out why later. So, Mimi is pressuring the mom to work on the marriage because they're all shaming women here. That's all they are doing. They only care about women and how women are perceived in this heteropatriarchal world, and that divorce is like a failing. What is this? Is this like when divorce just got legalized in England? No, I don't think it is. But they're blaming the mother yet again for the potential of divorce, even though the father is the one who had an affair. Hello? Because the woman is always to blame. The misogyny is so apparent. And this is all her fault because she did not grieve in a palatable enough way for everyone else. It's literally despicable. Clay gets upset and she runs off and she looks at her Mimi's love letters between her and the sheriff. They had a love affair for 34 years. Clay gets this feeling that she's surrounded by strangers because she didn't know this crazy thing about her grandma and because she didn't realize her parents were on the way towards divorce. She just thought they were going to have to get it together when she went to college. And I think that's pretty fair because yeah, that is a lot of info dumped on you at once. So she leaves without telling them. She then decides to go to the funeral home. No one is there, so she does something edgy after she breaks in. Without thinking, I hop up, sit on the table, and swing my legs over before laying my whole body down on the freezing metal table. I settle my back in, molding myself to the surface, and rest my legs slightly apart with my hands on my sides. Everyone who lies here is dead. They don't get to stare up at the stark fluorescent lights and let it sink in that their shot is over. That was it. I'll be here someday. Done. Never to speak or love or kiss again. What will I regret? What if I'm alone?
I'm an emo kid, non-conforming as can be. You'd be non-conforming too if you look just like me.
Chapter 26. Liv tells Clay that she was thinking about canceling the shopping trip with Chloe and that she and Clay could go together. Too bad she doesn't know that Clay is having a downward spiral and has been having one since yesterday. She swallows, standing up and avoiding my gaze. I actually already have my dress. She has a dress. ... Okay, so what does that mean? I stare at her body language all wrong. What the hell happened between yesterday and today? She can't go shopping with me? I fight to find my words, but she sees me staring and meets my eyes briefly. I mean, we said we'd keep this casual, right? She says, letting out a laugh. The date on Wednesday was enough risk for a while, I think. Enough risk, ... Why won't she look at me? Maybe I can stand being a secret for a little while longer, but I don't like this distance that's there all of a sudden. I'm not just some fuck. I turn and take my phone out of my locker, grabbing my earbuds too. I like spending time with you outside of bed too, Clay. But she doesn't want that, or she's not ready to admit it. She reaches for me. Liv. Just forget it. I move aside and close my locker. Macon was right. He always is. I'm the stupid one. She slams her locker and moves past me, murmuring, meet me in the shower now. No, I tell her, I'm over it. When your heart beats too fast, I grit out, it doesn't pump enough blood to the rest of your body. It starves your organs, making you lightheaded, unable to breathe, dizzy, weak. You can't think. ... I dive into her, pressing my forehead to hers. I do that to you, not him. I'm real. I release her, backing away and waiting for anything, waiting for a yes, a no, waiting for her to realize that she loves her life with me in it, and the fact that she's willing to sacrifice how good this feels breaks my heart. She stands there, her chin trembling as she stares down at nothing, agony written all over her face. I can't, she mouths before finding her voice. I can't tell my parents that I'm gay. I can't ever tell them that. They won't see me the same way anymore. I'll disappoint them. Pain racks my body as she goes blurry in my vision. You don't have to tell them you're gay, I whisper. You just have to tell them you're in love with me. I can't believe I'm on Clay's side here, but that means the same damn thing.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
We're now in the third act breakup, which is rich because they were never together in the first place. Wait for Liv to be mad about something she knew was never gonna happen. Liv continues to be upset, obviously. I just have to read this one line too because it's gross. I breathe in and out, gluing pearl after pearl, and I still smell her with every breath. Why do I still smell her? The way that's written is disgusting. Like, I know that they mean her perfume or her body wash or something, but like, it makes it seem like she could smell her all the way at her job. Like, ew. While she's lamenting about how Macon was right, Callum and his friends show up. Because of course they do. They gotta stir up some more drama. Callum is then sexually harassing Liv and being like, kiss me and I'll go. And Liv is like, no. Obviously. And then we get this really cryptic thing. Also, Callum is like, effing me good guarantees that your home won't get turned into a resort, pretty much. So, like, threatening her and blackmailing her with losing her home or doing him. Everything in the way you act tells me I'm supposed to be scared. I say, showing up here with your boys uninvited when I'm alone. I gaze around the room at all of them. What happens when you find out that the one thing you want is something you will never get? You will never feel like a man, Callum. That's why he does this, because hurt people hurt people. He doesn't want me. He doesn't want Clay. I know what he wants. You'll never take enough from people to erase him and how he fucks your stepmom and fucks your stepsister and hates you. His jaw flexes. You think you know? There's nothing else to know about you. I bite out. You're not in control. You're a bottle of Jack Daniels away from slitting your wrists. This is going to get even more problematic than just sexual harassment, and it's gonna go a way that you could probably never imagine. Horrifying, honestly. Liv walked home in the rain to be dramatic, I guess. Her brothers are instantly worried, as anyone who had a parent who offed themselves would be. Megan swoops in and is comforting Liv and like holding her, ordering her favorite kind of pizza. Liv has spent this whole time telling the audience that Megan doesn't care about her and can't even tell if Megan loves you. Yet he is immediately there for her, and I think that it's weird how her perception is so off from reality, and no one in this family is there for him even though he is always there for them. Again, why are you making me defend men, Penelope? Chapter 27, Chris Jen is checking on Clay because she's the only person other than Macon with a brain cell, and they get to share who has it at different points. Clay is internally upset that Liv has friends now. God forbid anyone look at her for anything other than sex. Are you sure? Chris Jen's voice is low. You look hangry, like you haven't eaten in days and you're going to morph into something outrageous if you don't get to dine on an unbaptized baby soon. I shut my locker and close my bag, turning my eyes away before Liv sees me looking. Clay, she touches my arm, but I pull away. I'm fine. Did you tell her you loved her? I snap my eyes to Chris Jen, who stares me in the eyes dead on. I don't. I drop my eyes, fiddling with my bag. It just felt really good. I don't know. More laughter echoes behind me, and I look over my shoulder, watching all four girls head down the hall away from me. Liv doesn't spare a glance my way, as if she actually never noticed that I'm right here. I swallow. I'm just confused. Are you? Why are all the straight people the ones who know that this bitch is a lesbian? Why? It's gross, and it perpetuates the idea of the you can always tell. Not everyone is a bunch of walking stereotypes like these two idiots. She didn't even look at me. She hasn't looked at me in days, as if she wasn't begging me not to leave her bed last week. Gone, done, over. She's surviving, and now from the looks of it, surviving well. For someone who had a chip on her shoulder about the new girl, she's making her a bestie awfully fast. She has people now, and all I want is her. What the hell happened? I drift to my car and drive home, my head racked with pain from holding back tears all day, but I finally let them go. I've barely eaten anything in 3 days. I can't stop thinking about her. If she called right now, I would rush to her wherever she was for just a chance at one more night. God, I miss her. Why can't she be more patient? Why can't she give me that? Why does anyone need to know? How was she so willing to give me up over me just wanting her to myself for a while longer? Was it too much to ask not to be rushed? Just be understanding. Just love me. I loved her so good. It should have been enough. The two of you did not consent to a relationship exclusive or otherwise with each other. Why does she have to be patient?
Why should I know these things? Do you know them?
She has been more than forgiving after you have bullied her for the last 4 years before you started coming onto her. How dare you, of all people, demand she be more patient and understanding? Clay comes home and her parents are fighting again. Clay gets on the phone after her dad leaves and is like, don't come back. Oh my God. It's like the biggest temper tantrum you've ever seen. She's throwing pictures off the wall. She's freaking the hell out while she's on the phone. Her mom's following her around, crying and saying, don't do that. And like being upset, she's throwing pictures of Henry and shit. And after her huge tantrum, she runs to the funeral home because she clearly feels the darkness inside her. It needs to be near death. The mortician says get lost because the one that's in right now is a kid. Clay only hesitates for a second before deciding she's going to help anyway, even though he's like Henry. He's really not. They didn't die the same way at all, but whatever. He apparently drowned because his brother was making out with his girlfriend in the car and not watching him. If Henry had survived a couple more years, this could have been him instead. It would have been a way faster way to go. I promise I'm not being flippant about poor Henry. He got out easy. Oh my God. Clay starts to help with the embalming process. I might be wrong, but don't you need a license for that kind of thing? I don't know. What do I know? Did I ever tell you that I lived in New York for a time? Mrs. Gates says across the table. I meet her eyes as we work. I loved it. She smiles a little. Too cold, but a lot of fun. That's where I studied to become a funeral director. I think I knew that, but I can't be sure. She shuts off the machine. It's one of the best schools in the country for mortuary science. Mortuary science. I can get you in, she says, if you want to go. I stop, locking eyes with her. My first instinct is to laugh or scoff. I can't tell people I'm an undertaker. It's not romantic like an actor or an artist, or heroic like a lawyer or a doctor. But then most people haven't seen what I've seen either. Mrs. Gates is there during one of the most important times in a person's life. I mean, they're dead, so she's not really, whatever. You have a strong stomach, she tells me. You empathize, you care. I think the best people to help us say goodbye are the ones who've had to do it themselves. I keep working, listening. You know what these families need. She drops tools to the tray, picking up another one. Funerals aren't for the dead after all. They're for the survivors. The idea is ridiculous. Everyone would laugh. My grandmother would have a cow. But then I look down at the kid, Mitchell Higgins, from the name on his file, and know that tomorrow I could be him. Not tomorrow, next week, next year, 5 years from now, because no matter when, it is coming. I know your parents want you to go to Wake Forest, she says, but if you decide your life should go on a different path, I'll sponsor you. Sponsor me? You work here on vacations and give me 2 years after you've gotten your degree, she tells me, and I'll pay your tuition. I know that the mortician has no way of knowing this, but Clay is like the least empathetic person ever. She's not empathetic, she's just a hypocrite. She knows that the cruelty she inflicts is wrong, but she does it anyway, and she's aware that death is part of the longer conversation and that we all die in the end, that life is short or whatever, but she still does the terrible things anyway. I cannot think of anyone who would be worse to be either a mortician or a nurse than Clay. Chapter 28, Clay is thinking about going to the school in New York and that she would be closer to live, which I don't think Penelope understands how far apart New Hampshire and New York are. It takes me 6 hours from where I am in New Hampshire to make it to New York City. It is about 4.5 hours from Dartmouth to New York City. That is not really good driving distance. What are we doing here? Clay goes home from the funeral home. I walk on my driveway, seeing lights glowing from inside my house, and I know I'll find my mom sitting at the table waiting for me. Not so much because she's worried, which any other parent might be, since I left my phone in my room hours ago and she couldn't get a hold of me, but because it would look bad to go to sleep with an angry teenage daughter out this late. She has really strong feelings about her mom that are about to be so proven wrong, it's not even funny. Her mom is upstairs and eating carbs, which is not the norm for her. As we all remember, eating disorder city. Clay's mom is talking about how she doesn't know how her own mom, Mimi, made everything look so perfect and flawless when she's struggling so much. Clay drops that her grandma had a 34-year affair. We're now going to get to one of the stupidest parts of this entire book. In 20 years, I could be sitting here with my daughter, realizing I lived a lie for a life that made me miserable and give up the one person who fed my every breath. I'll realize how I'd ruined my life with such a massive mistake. I stare at my mom, tears filling my eyes. Mom. It takes her a moment, still lost in thought, but she looks over at me. I have to talk to you, I tell her. I don't want to trouble you right now, but I need to say something. I need to say it now. It's not the right time, but there will never be one. I clasp my hands together, looking down as I try to find the words. What is it? She asks when I don't say anything. I open my mouth but close it again, not sure how to word it. I search my brain for the gentlest words, the easiest way to explain it, but all I see is her losing her mind again and ready to hide in this closet the rest of the week because she'll feel like she failed. But I need to talk to someone. I need to say it out loud, and this is so hard because I need my mom, even if she's just going to make this about her. I'll be able to see the disappointment all over her face. Tears stream down my face. Clay, my God. She breathes out, her tone alert. What is it? I open my mouth. Just say it, and then it'll be out and over. I lick my lips, staring at my legs. I'm in love with Olivia Yeager, I say just above whisper. I feel the walls crash in and I close my eyes, waiting for it, waiting for the meltdown. She doesn't say anything and I don't look up. I know she heard me. I'm in love with her a lot. I finish. More silence. I wait. And then she falls back against the dresser again, exhaling a huge breath. Oh, thank God. She gasps, breathing hard. Oh my God, I thought you were pregnant. Jesus, Clay, you scared me. I jerk my eyes over to her, seeing her with a hand to her chest as she tries to catch her breath. Huh? She heard me, right? This isn't a joke. She looks over at me again, concern still in her eyes. That's all you were going to say? She asks. That's it? Nothing else? What? Are you serious? I burst out, sitting up straight. You're not surprised that I am? Well, honey, we kind of knew. My eyes go wide, and now that the fear is gone, I glare. What? I screech. How could you know? I didn't know. And what do you mean, we? You mean Dad knows too? Are they serious? She smiles softly. Honey, you had pictures of Selena Gomez and Peyton List on your wall when you were 12. She tells me. Christian had Boo Boo Stewart and Harry Styles. Yeah, we kind of had an idea. Why didn't you say anything? Because you were 12, she explains. You're the only one who knows who you are. We didn't want to make assumptions. We just wanted to let you come to us when you were ready. But the showers at school, I say, you changed the showers at school because of Liv Yeager. I voted to change them because you asked me to. I did not, she nods. Yeah, the end of freshman year, she tells me. You were complaining about Olivia constantly being late to class to finish bathing before her, and something about her not showering at all sometimes and just dousing herself in perfume and deodorant. People were being mean to her, making fun of her, ... I took that as a hint that you felt bad for her. You kind of just spit out that separate stalls would make your lives so much easier. I pause, the vague memory playing out in my head. Right. I do remember that. I hated seeing her waiting around in her towel all alone. So you're just fine with it? I sputter. Seriously? I am now, she replies. I cock an eyebrow. Now? Well, at first, she says, part of me kind of hoped it wasn't true. Why? I'm sorry to admit that. She frowns, but I want us to be honest with each other. It was my initial reaction. Oh my God, did I do something wrong? Is this my fault? She shakes her head. I can't help where my mind went, but that's not where it is anymore, Clay. I'm glad I had time to prepare myself because I would have been ashamed to have had that reaction in front of you. This is so stupid. The biggest stakes were just made up in Clay's head. They weren't even real. Why did we do all of this when there are no consequences? What was the point to any of this? Chapter 29. You're not actually dating Tracy Yeager, are you? Amy says to Christian, somewhere off to my right. Calculus fills up, students pouring through the doors, and I feel Clay somewhere behind me, but I don't turn to look. Of course not, Christian replies. That would involve talking, and talking is the one thing we don't do. I smile to myself. I like Christian simply because most saints wouldn't admit to the world that they sleep at my house, or any house in the swamp. She's proof that Clay's a fucking wimp. My phone buzzes with another text, but I keep it face down underneath my palm on my desk. I don't care how much she wants me. I don't care if she took the first step and told her mom about us, or how many times she's called in the last week. And it's fine if she can't march her ass over here right now in front of everyone and pull me into her arms. I just won't trust her again for any less. Liv is still angry, understandably, I guess. Oh, wait, no though, except for the fact that she signed up for no strings attached. I understand that she can't trust her again for anything less, but she should not have trusted her at all in the first place. You knew what this was the entire time, and you had to simply keep reminding yourself over and over of that. Chloe asks Liv where she got her jacket. It's not important. Chloe puts Liv's jacket on without asking, but this clearly makes Liv happy because Clay will now be jealous. Clay sees this very quickly. I have no doubt she's been completely honest. I know her heart is mine, but she ruined it. She made what happened between us dirty, and now every memory of feeling her and holding her is covered in shit because now I know I can't trust her. I'll always be waiting to be kicked to the curb again because I'm only good enough when it's on her terms, after hours when no one's around. My mother let herself be slowly eaten alive by whatever went on in her head. The dark places, the despair. Clay hurt me hard. She won't get a chance to kill me. There are so many drive-bys on her mother. Penelope just hates women. If Clay offed herself because Liv died of a heart attack, which is what happened to Liv's dad, Penelope would think that that is the height of romance. But because it's someone's mother, it's not okay. The hypocrisy of this book is obnoxious, and it just reinforces the idea that once you have kids, nothing about yourself belongs to you. It's infuriating. When Liv gets home, she blocks Clay on everything. She should have done that when Clay was bullying her, but no. Her brothers ask for tickets to the play. She says they don't have to go, but obviously they do want to go. They want to be supportive. Macon makes Ami give her one of Macon's motorcycles and gives the key because Macon is a big stunted man, baby, who can't talk about emotion. But at the same time, they've been trying to paint it as though he doesn't care about them. It's really dumb. It's really fucking stupid. Her theater teacher calls her and is like, you need to get in here immediately because you're gonna have to go on as Mercutio ASAP, which means Callum isn't going to be playing Mercutio. I'm back, everybody. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of thunder, so Gingy might be popping in and out. She's very nervous about it, but I gave her her special med. It was a total surprise. I didn't see it on the weather report. Poor Nene. Poor Bean Bean. Let's go. On my way, I almost whisper and then hang up. He did it. I'm on stage tonight. I'm playing Mercutio. A text rolls in and I look down reading, congratulations, I can't wait to see your performance. And my mouth goes dry, Callum's double meaning of performance hitting me like a steel rod to the kneecaps. Penelope Douglas thinks you're too stupid to connect things together, like the double meaning behind the word performance in this particular scenario. Pass it on. double it, send it to the next person. Everyone is excited, but Liv is like, oh my god, did Clay text me? And then she remembered that she blocked her. Penelope Douglas is a real idiot here. Lifting the flap, I peep through the peepholes, watching the house get seated as the lights dim. The snow begins to fall, a perpetual night as the backdrop of the Kingdom of New York looms on the horizon, and the swords are changed out for bows and kung fu.
Now, we don't have time to unpack all of that.
Romeo and Benvolio enter stage left, and I draw in a deep breath, close my eyes for a moment, my heart suddenly pounding in my chest. Clay. My head swims, and somehow all the tears and anger and bitterness of years of hurt and a freshly axed heart swirl like a whirlwind. For the first moment, I know that Mercutio isn't dynamic at all. He's lost. He's missing that one thing that being loved gives you, and that's why he needs Romeo. That's why he's protective of him. He lives through him. Romeo must be protected at all costs, and now I get it. Nay, gentle Romeo, I call out, stepping onto the stage. We must have you dance. I hold my friend's eyes, the spotlight on me and following me to him, and the adrenaline burns down my arms, something inside showing me the way. I scream, tears streaming down my face as I fall to the ground, and Mercutio realizes that this wasn't worth it. He'd tried to protect his friend's life, but he failed to protect his happiness. He made it worse, just a domino in the tragedy who failed to see how short our time was, how it wasn't going to end unless someone changed the game, and how, for the first time, I realized that the glaring plot hole in this story was never a plot hole at all. Whether Juliet left her parents' home under her own 2 feet or in a casket, she still had the same endgame, so why fake her death at all? She just should have left when her father gave her the option, but she didn't, because she would have rather her parents see her dead than a Montague, because she loved them and didn't want to disappoint them. And now maybe I finally understand that Clay's fear isn't because she doesn't love me, it's because she loves them too. I don't want what happened to Allie to happen to her. I'd rather see her from a distance than never again. We are bending over backwards to give Clay more credit than she deserves. Not to mention the drive-by on literally anyone who commits self-unaliving. Like, their deaths are all about your character development and your growth as a person, and nothing else. Also, can you imagine being in this play, rehearsing, taking all this time out of your day and your life to get this right, and then some show-off named Liv Yeager comes and steals the show just because she's thinking about her lesbian lover who was also her bully? I would never get over it. That would be it for me. Chapter 30, it's finally time for the debutante ball, and Clay wants to text Callum to not come tonight. Amy peers over my shoulder. A few people are dragging her for her performance last night. Bullshit. Christian finishes her cocktail and checks herself in the mirror. Word is she nailed it. Lisbeth got snippy on Snapchat, some loaded comment about someone stealing the show, but everyone knows who she's talking about. I want to ask Christian if she's seen her or talked to her. She's at their house a lot lately. And of course, everyone sticks up for the underdog, Amy adds, doing that, hey, here's me and my token lesbian friend to show I'm woke and have the higher moral ground with my self-important opinions about world issues. God, shut up. I squeeze my fists silently, telling her to shut her mouth, but I won't say it out loud, will I? Because I'm scared. I'm scared of that point of no return, but why? It's costing me Liv. It's costing me everything. We just gotta get through it. We can tell that Clay's in a really good place. Also, she won't say anything about Amy because she's been friends with her for years. Like, and you let her get away with it. I don't want to hear it, Clay. You're the last person I want to hear it from. Iron shows up with a package from Liv, and it has a really pretty suit and dress in it. This is beautiful, my mother says, examining the gown. Who's the tux for? Me. Liv's giving me a choice. I look between the dress and the suit. I can do what I'm told, or I can do what I want. I shake my head. I hurt her so badly. She deserves better. You're right. Liv does deserve better than you. Actually, I think you're both terrible, so I think you deserve each other and you should remove each other from the dating pool. Clay's dad shows up to talk to her mom. Her dad, like, whisks her into another room, and her mom is like, let me go. And he's like, never. And I'm like, what in the SA, Batman? I see that SA runs in the family. It's apparently a genetic trait. Clay decides that she is going to wear the suit tonight and texts Callum not to come. Chapter 31. Callum texts Liv to tell her that tonight is going to be the thing, the big makeout party. I stare at Callum's text from this afternoon, holding my breath a little. He thinks we have a deal. I took Mercutio and the key after all, but I'm not going. What's he going to do? Force me?
If God sends me to hell, I will simply not go. What will he do? Send me to hell? I'm already not going. The fuck?
Christian shows up to give Liv the dress back, and Liv takes it the wrong way immediately. But Christian dives down and picks up the box again. I don't mean that, she spits out. I mean for you to wear. I'm not a debutante. No, but you could escort one, she retorts in a tone like she's mocking my stupidity. She is, and so am I. She looks around the room to my brothers. Do we have to talk about this down here? I stay rooted in my spot. I may have done what I could to cut off communication, but Clay has known where to find me. There's no way in hell I'm making some grand gesture in a public space. She's the one who screwed up. She's dying on the inside, Christian says in a low voice. I lift my gaze, meeting hers. She's dying without you. My throat tightens, my chest constricts, and something stings inside me, but I shake my head. She broke it off with me. She made a mistake, Christian says, my brother's still standing around while Megan sits in the chair off to my left. She's going to make a lot of mistakes. She's spoiled, a little self-absorbed, angry about a lot of shit, but she's learning. Christian lowers her voice, and she's yours. My eyes burn. You're a crazy, impulsive, wild, complicated girl, Christian tells me. I press my lips together and drop my gaze because I'm about to lose it. My crazy, impulsive, wild, beautiful girl, my girl. There's no point, Christian, I say. We're both graduating, leaving town. None of that matters, she growls. Just be here now. I've stopped breathing, Christian's anger startling me. There's no tomorrow, she goes on. What are you worried about? Just be here today. Why is there so much growling in this book? Also, why are we telling these two people to live in today when they've proven that they are incapable of doing so? Not to mention the millions of excuses for Clay is getting old. She has the exact same access to the internet and other resources that everybody else does. She probably actually has even better access because her parents are rich. Christian offers to stay and help get Liv in the dress, but she also offers to do Army, the brother. Liv says no for Christian's sake because Army is always just going to treat whoever he's with like a babysitter he can stick his dick in and out of. Chapter 32, Clay realizes that Liv blocked her on the phone when she tries to call. Why she didn't think of that sooner, I couldn't tell you. She considers starting a new account so she can talk to her, but decides that she isn't that pathetic. I disagree. I just want her to want to talk to me. I don't want to stalk her. I'm going over there. I'm done. I need her and she loves me. I know she does. She's so annoying because she also doesn't have any of Liv's brother's numbers. Like, apparently. Or why didn't she send like a real message when she sent Christian back? Like, what? This is so forced and stupid. Clay's dad shows up. He explains that he's sorry that he and her mother couldn't make it work together, but he wishes that they could and that he still loves her and that he's gonna love her always. Okay, Severus Snape, calm down. Also, just because you love someone does not mean that it's gonna make you last forever or make everything work. But I also don't know why I'm arguing with someone who wrote a family incest novel. It's not like she understands the first thing about relationships. She doesn't. Clay decides to go on with no escort, and she doesn't want to have one of the backup escorts either. She says that she's always wanted to do this, but we know from the text that she did not always want to do this. She saw this as something forced upon her by her mother and her grandmother, and that was culturally significant, but she didn't actually want to do it. Penelope forgets her own canon. You can't fool me, Penelope. I understand what happened in Harold the Ninth the first time I read it, so I can definitely understand and remember what you wrote. Liv stands there. Her hair is shiny, silky waves down her bare back, her body adorned in the gorgeous gown she'd sent me earlier today. Her breasts bulge out over the top and I can't inhale a full breath. What are you doing? I burst out. She turns to look at me and my eyes drop to her dark pink lips. I can't stop myself. I take her in my arms, breathing her in and staring at her mouth. You look, I can barely find the words, so beautiful. I hope so, she says, that easy bantering tone back in her voice like nothing has happened. I'm not particularly comfortable. Did you know the average woman owns 27 pairs of shoes and only wears 5 regularly? Want to bet all 5 are sneakers? And before I can even laugh at her little joke, I feel my body move without my consent. Her body won't even give consent to her. I grab her face and sink my mouth into hers, exhilaration shooting up my spine when her hands take my waist and hold me back. Lips, lips, I hear Christian shout, panicked. Oh God, guys, oh my God, Aracely, I need lipsticks. And she's gone, and I know people are looking at us, but it's honestly in the top 3 things I couldn't care less about right now. Tilting my head and sliding a hand around her waist, I deepen the kiss, feeling her body flush with mine, every inch of me so alive I'm ready to cry. Is she really here? How? ... What? ... You said you love me, she whispers. I smile, kissing her mouth again and again, over and over. I was wondering, more kisses, if you'd noticed that. I didn't say it back. I stop, now reminded myself. I search her eyes, hoping she says it, but almost wishing she doesn't speak at all. I just want a few more minutes with her if she's about to walk away. I didn't want you to know that you could break my heart. Her brown eyes behind beautiful smoky eye makeup glisten. The eyes aren't behind the makeup. Unless, I guess your eyelid is completely closed, but I thought you guys were looking at each other. Whatever. I didn't want Clay Collins to ever know that. She pauses, the eyes and whispers around us, my family in the audience, and Wentworth's booming voice on stage not nearly as loud as my heart. But she has always broken my heart. She tells me, I love you. My chest swells. I've only ever loved you. Her breath warms me from head to toe, and I've never felt happier. My heart is yours, she says. Shred it, burn it, I don't care. I want every minute I can get. Yes. I laugh, smile, and dive in, lost in her mouth for I don't know how long, till we've lost control, and I've fallen into the ground, her body pressed to mine. Lipsticks, Christian chides, coming over. I've gotten to the point where I'm too exhausted to even point out all the things wrong with this. At least Christian is here for some attempt at comedic relief. They both go out and they both get announced, which wouldn't happen in this actual situation, because if this is a homophobic state and a homophobic institution, they would just refuse to announce you and wouldn't even let you be here. You can tell that Penelope has never actually been oppressed a day in her life. Clay's grandma is apparently big mad. I promise this does not last. After they are leaving, they're talking about how school is going to be fun on Monday, but everyone will already know because they're going to be posting it online and stuff, so what's the big deal actually? The driver comes around, is going to bring them to Clay's house, probably for more disgusting sex. They start undressing each other in the car. That poor driver. This is interrupted by the limo stopping. The door whips open and Callum is there in jeans and a hoodie, dark figures looming behind him. He sticks his head inside, his eyes gleaming with delight when he sees her nearly naked body in my arms. Well, what do we have here? He sneers. What the hell do you want? Liv growls, shooting out her leg to kick him back, but he grabs her foot instead. Milo bends down, peering inside the car. God damn. Hey, what's going on? Someone shouts and I realize it's the driver. Yeah, they keep forgetting the driver's here. Help, I shout. But Callum yanks Liv and she screams no. I lunge, slamming my fists and trying to hit anything I can. His head, his arms, anything to loosen his hold. But he has her. He sweeps her out of the car and away from me. No, I cry. Ah! Liv yells. That's not really how you yell. I'm like, whatever. Time to pay your dues, bitch. Callum spits out and throws her over his shoulder. It's not funny, but it is. Did you really think we were going to get through this book without the mustache twirling villain coming back? The third act? No. Anyway, they kidnap Liv, and Clay calls Tryst for help instead of the police, which is actually maybe one of the only smart things she's ever done. Chapter 33, Liv is being kidnapped. Callum accuses Liv of giving Macon the key to the clubhouse to fuck up some shit they had planned. Liv says that he's kind of only partially right in her head, but this is actually a misdirect, so I don't even know why we wrote that. Liv hopes that Clay isn't calling her brothers because they are going to absolutely lose it and probably go to prison. She starts screaming and thrashing and trying to get out. She reminds them that Clay knows who kidnapped her and says that Clay will call the police. Callum calls her bluff immediately and says that Clay is going to call Liv's brothers because the police will just show up and beat down the poor people in this situation, I fear, which is kind of most likely true. Liv starts talking cryptically about Callum and some guy. That's what you want, I say quietly. You're drawing them in. You want his attention, okay? We'll find out what this is about later, so I get to yell to the camera. They lead her into a dark building. Liv is obviously freaking out. Never go to the second location, obviously. There is another blonde girl there who looks a lot like Clay, but is obviously not Clay. And honestly, that girl should be stoked she isn't Clay. This girl, Morgan, immediately starts to freak out because she was told that the other girl was going to be a willing participant. So she just up and leaves, and honestly, good for that girl. But girl, call the cops, what the hell? Liv then starts taunting them because that's the smartest route with a bunch of men who want to potentially either essay and or unalive you. She's literally mocking them and being like, you can't even get it up, and we'll just do it, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to victim blame, but this was potentially one of the stupidest things you could have done in this situation. Just because Penelope wrote it to be working out and was making them nervous and making them not be able to get it up doesn't mean that this would work in real life. Clay shows up to the rescue and does the whole who hurt you, which does not work in this book, by the way, because 85% of the time it was you. You were the one hurting her. So you might want to start by punching yourself. Liv tells Megan that they weren't able to hurt her and she doesn't want her brothers to go to prison. Her brother Ian gives her something to cover up with at least, because again, almost naked. Clay decides, however, that she wants to fuck them up. Clay steals Ian's knife that was attached to his belt and matches in there. Clay tells Liv's brothers, hey, stand back because you'll get in trouble, but I won't, because she's using that rich white girl privilege, which is probably one of the only good things she's done in this entire fucking book. She cuts Milo on the face and is like, if I ever hear you doing this to literally any girl again, I will wreck your shit. Which, you know what? Fair enough. She also says, you're gonna tell everyone you gotta cut shaving, which, what, was he using an old-timey razor? What the hell? We also find out that the brothers did break into the clubhouse and they have cameras everywhere, and that's one of the reasons why they're not gonna go to the police. They are planning to blackmail Callum with this information, and this will be an easier way for them because they know that the police are kind of bought and paid for. Well, doesn't this just wrap up in a nice little bow? Of course it does. Why wouldn't Liv have talked about the footage in her own brain sooner? This is not natural thought processes. Like, keeping things hidden from the reader on purpose when you are in first person POV and this person would naturally be thinking about the things that are coming up is ridiculous and stupid. Liv asks Ami to stop her other brothers and he's like, what, are you on glue? And for real though, fair enough, I'd mess them up too. Yeah, and they just decide again to use the footage and not erase it, and they don't want to get the police involved because they go over again how the law will protect these white boys but won't protect Liv's family, and why they want to be doing things with the illegal route because Penelope thinks we're stupid and then we can't remember ACAB, which is a very simple acronym. Chapter 34, Clay is lovingly kissing Liv over her bruises. So sweet. Remember when she made Liv strip and then wrote all over her body criticizing her and making her feel like a terrible, ugly person? No? Just me? Callum is going to keep his mouth shut. Yay! Clay's mom calls while they're kissing. Where are you? She blurts out. Liv pulls me into her arms and I kiss her. Still at Liv's, I say. Liv takes my other hand, putting it back where it was between her thighs. I keep my laughter quiet. Okay, since I know you two are dating now, this changes things. My mom tells me. Are you sleeping in separate beds? Liv rears back, having heard that, and looks at me like she's wondering if I'm aware how dumb my mom is. Of course not, I say without shame. You're being homophobic. Don't you use that word with me, Mom growls. If she were Callum, there's no way I'd allow it either. Sex is a big deal, Clay. You can't just start treating this house like a hotel and practically living with your girlfriend. This book is homophobic, to me specifically. Speaking of that, they then reveal why Callum was such a big bad evil douche. You should have posted that audio. She looks up at me, her smile slowly dissipating as a thoughtful expression crosses her face. Maybe I will, she tells me, or maybe I want to see what happens next. What do you mean? I mean, Callum has slept in this house more nights than you. Did you know that? I freeze. What? She inhales and exhales. He and Dallas. She almost whispers, what? I exclaim, dumbfounded. But she nods. Last summer for about a month. I gape at her. He and Dallas what? Is she serious? Dallas broke it off, she tells me, and Callum was not happy. Oh my god, I think, trying to find any clues I had, but there are none. Nothing that I picked up on except, is that why he targeted Liv? Because she was a Jaeger he had access to at school every day and could hurt? I didn't know Dallas was, he's bi, she says. But don't bring it up. Dallas doesn't like anyone in his business. I'd gathered as much. Callum, I'm pretty sure, is not bi, she tells me, almost as if she's breaking some bad news. Or straight. Fuck, I breathe out, thinking about all his taunting and the other girls at school. But then a thought occurs to me. Last summer, Callum would have been 17. Dallas was at least 20 then. Callum could have gotten him into a lot of trouble, but of course, he would have outed himself in the process. So Callum went after Liv instead. It wasn't random. I don't excuse his behavior, she says. But the more I look around the world, Clay, the more I realize that villains are a lot more complicated than we want them to be. Sometimes they're just people who are really afraid. It definitely doesn't excuse anything. Everyone has a story, Clay. She glides her hands up and down my thighs. Callum will sink himself on his own or swim, and while we wait to see which, we have the camera secretly recording every day to make sure he behaves himself. I like having that leverage over him. Are you fucking kidding me? All the homophobes in this book are secretly gay. This is such a harmful trope because it perpetuates the idea that we are the ones creating our own oppression by making ourselves be in the closet. This is not true. Straight people do that. I am so sick of everyone making these jokes where it says that homophobes are all just secretly in the closet and that they're just one of us. This is statistically impossible. Stop perpetuating this lie. Enough. And why are we excusing Callum's behavior? Why are we pretending he wasn't perfectly fine with him and his friends potentially essaying / gang-R-ing Liv? Why is she suddenly a saint who is moralizing to the audience? What is this we all bleed red bullshit? They're trying to be cutesy. I'm not reading it. It's really annoying and stupid. I don't know why I wrote it into my script. They're happy. Yay, I don't care. They don't deserve it. They end the chapter by pumping each other up to go into school, but could we have seen that? Could we have seen any of the actual hardship they might endure? No, we don't, because the next chapter is just the time jump. Chapter 35, we jump to 3 weeks later. They're still helping with practice even though the season is over because Clay offered Liv a full body massage to help. I'm in hell. I stare down at her. I'm not sure. I wouldn't rather just spend it on the beach instead, I tell her. Hell, I'd rather be on an airboat with Tryst gator hunting this summer than sweating my ass off on this school field one more time. Why were you even on the team? She fires back because she knows this is the last thing I want to be doing with my time. But we both know exactly why I put up with this shit for so long. And it wasn't because athletics looked good on my college applications. I cock an amused eyebrow, smirking a little. She smiles like she didn't already know I was always here for her. Because Liv isn't allowed to have any interests of her own other than theater that wasn't about trying to hook up with Clay. Got it. Love how we retconned that. Remember when she said that she joined the team for camaraderie and hopefully understanding amongst her peers? Does anyone else remember that? I shake my head. Some people, as expected, were pricks about it all when Clay came out, but the advocates are louder, stronger, and much more vicious when they witness an injustice. Anyone who had shit to say soon found it was better to keep their stupid comments to themselves unless they wanted to be immortalized on the internet forever. Hey, homophobes don't really care about that kind of internet shaming. This is stupid. Like, people will just do it anyway. Like, have you ever seen a homophobe on the internet? They're loud and proud, baby. Callum doesn't even look at them anymore. Can't say that I'm surprised. I wouldn't want to touch that with a 40-foot pole. This all has to wrap up so nice, even though it's a dark romance. I'm so close to being done. I can smell it, guys. I'm so close. They still see Milo around town sometimes, but he lowers his head and he walks really far away. He dropped out of the school. Good for them, I guess. He saved Sanoa Bay because Clay's mom is part of the city council or something, because of course she is, and they made the lighthouse the historical monument, blah, 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 blah. They are all getting ready to go to prom. We learn that Clay's parents are getting divorced anyway, and that her dad is moving out. I don't know why Penelope felt the need to keep flip-flopping back and forth with the parents. It's as if she couldn't decide which was a better message to the audience or whatever. But her mom is getting a new lease on life. Good for her. Clay has decided to stay in Florida and intern with the funeral home person and take the classes online. I do not understand why she wouldn't go to college for this, especially when we were talking about like maybe an associate's degree. Also, her family is rich, but whatever. Clay says it's to work on her relationship with her parents, but I'm calling BS on that. Why couldn't they talk on the phone or email or whatever? Whatever, we're almost done. Liv says that she wants to stay with her, but Clay is like, no, if you don't try for Dartmouth, you'll always wonder what if. And thank God for one sensible thing in this goddamn book. I kiss her, letting her feel my heart so she never doubts it. I'm going to marry her. You are 18. Realistically, this will be done within 3 months of you leaving the state or less. Epilogue. We did it. Yay. We now jump to 4 years later. Clay is working up the nerve to ask Macon if she can marry Liv. What a patriarchal bullshit tradition that lesbians should never, ever, ever participate in. This is one of the stupidest things I've ever read in any lesbian book. He's fine with them getting married, but I personally would never get over the fact that this person bullied my sister for 4 years. We are not on the same level though, I fear. Liv is planning at the same time to propose to Clay also. Yes, it is a dual POV epilogue. She's making fancy dinner when Clay's dad comes over and is like, hey, what should I make for dinner for a date? We then learn, I'll save you the trouble, that he was doing it to go on a date with Clay's mother. So the divorce was pointless. It was all for nothing. So what did you want to talk about? I asked. Your car's extended warranty. I bury my face in her neck, unable to not laugh. Rat. Beautiful, she calls me instead. Trouble, I counter. My pearl. Hellion, I bite out in her ear. She turns her head, whispering, sunshine. Pain in my ass. I smile and kiss her. I kiss her for a long time. The wind in our hair as the last light leaves us. Do you love me? I ask against her lips. She meets my eyes. So much I'll hurt if you don't marry me. This feels so divorced from who they are as characters and who we've known them to be this entire time. I'm done with this. I can't do any more. This entire book felt like a hate crime.
I am a victim of a hate crime. Stanley knows what I'm talking about.
That's not what a hate crime is.
Well, I hated it. A lot. Okay, you know what?
That's a wrap, people. There's a bonus section, but I am not covering it because I have tortured myself enough. Look at this. Some of my tabs fell out. This book was riddled with homophobia. It did not know anything about its intended audience, obviously. It was full of nonsense and disgusting sex scenes. It was full of harmful tropes about how homophobes are always actually secretly gay. This book was 500 pages when it maybe could have been like 200, 250 tops. I literally only read this book for YouTube for you guys, alright? I will not be reading another Penelope Douglas book unless you guys really want me to and we get to 1,000 subscribers, and it has to be more than like a couple of you. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it unless I get heavily requested, okay? I hated everything about this, so much so that I blocked someone I followed on Book Talk because she kept suggesting this book. Absolutely not. I'm literally dead serious. I will block anyone if I see them recommending this book. I gave this book 0.75 stars out of 5 stars on Storygraph because you don't have to give a full star. It didn't really deserve anything, to be perfectly honest, but it was slightly better than It's Not My Favorite, which was the book I hated most this year and probably ever. So there's that. If you made it this far, leave like a knife emoji or like some like how many crimes with knives and how many knives do you think were in this book? Leave me the knife emoji or the blood emoji. I think that would be fun. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This was a really fun video to do for you guys, and I'm so happy that I was able to finish it, even though I had some technical problems. I hope to see you guys next Friday for the next video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!